5 deep blue pills with pale gold patterns, glowing under the light. Made these myself. Yesterday, dead silence. I explained that the ancestor told me I had alchemy talent during the 9th level. If there were ancient pill recipes inside, I was the most likely person to obtain them. Higher-grade pills could boost all of Holy Light Star's strength and help with the 100-year challenge ahead. I said that last part for the Emperor's ears only. Nobody else knew about the curse. Then Sheng Tian stepped forward. Father, I think Ninth Brother makes a good point. Everyone looked at him. He stood beside me and said my alchemy talent was extraordinary, and if ancient legacies existed in there, I was the best candidate. He suggested giving me life-saving tools and keeping me away from dangerous areas. He turned to me with his warm smile. Right, Ninth Brother? Big Brother's right, I said, looking into those warm eyes. Sheng Tianwu scratched his head, confused. Big Brother never got involved in these things. Sheng Tianyan stood in the corner, watching Sheng Tian's back, eyes narrowing slightly. Something was off, but he didn't say it out loud. The Emperor stared at Sheng Tian's for 3 seconds, something churning behind his golden pupils. Then he looked at me. You really want to go? Yes. Not afraid to die? Afraid. But more afraid of regretting not going. He was quiet for a long time. Then he stood, walked to me, and said I could go, on one condition. I had to come back alive. Deal. He pulled out a crystal stone from his robe, fist-sized, transparent, with golden light flowing inside like liquid. Holy Light Shield. The hall exploded again. That was one of the founding Star Lord's relics. Only 3 ever existed. One went to the Crown Prince and was used up in a secret realm. One the Emperor used himself. This was the last one. It could block a full power attack from a level 190, lasting 7 days. I took it. Do you have any more? He stared at me. You think these are candy? The ancestor left 3 total. This is the last one. Fine. He told me to prepare today and leave tomorrow. Whatever I needed, ask Uncle Zhong. As people filed out, Sheng Tian stopped at the door. Ninth Brother. Take care. 2 words, very light. But what I heard underneath wasn't concern. It was something else. Sheng Tianwu slapped my shoulder and called me reckless. A level 112 going into a crowd of level 130 plus people to fight over herbs. I told him I had alchemy talent to think about, unlike him. He told me to be careful. Out of 10 people who went in, only 6 or 7 came out. Sheng Tianyan passed by me and whispered 3 words, so quiet only I could hear. Watch out for Big Brother. Then he walked away. I watched his back and my mouth twitched slightly. What I didn't know was what Sheng Tian did next. He went back to his quarters, sealed every window and door, and pulled out the black communication stone. He was excited. Inside the medicine field space, nobody outside could see what happened. If someone died in there, no one would know. He contacted the Shadow Organization again. But this time he didn't hire an assassin. He had a better idea. I want you to send a message, he said. Tell everyone that Holy Light Star's 9th Prince is entering the medicine field space. Tell them he's level 112. Tell them he has the Holy Light Shield. Tell them this is his most vulnerable moment. Tell them, if they don't act now, once he gets the legacy and reaches level 190, once he leads Holy Light Star to crush them for another 1,000,000 years, they'll never get another chance. The Shadow said the message was free, compensation for the failed assassination last time. And they'd sell the information not just to the top 10 planets, but to every planet Holy Light Star had ever conquered or threatened. Every Star Lord wants Sheng Yuan dead, the Shadow said. Every single one. Sheng Tian's lips curled. Good. The Shadow vanished. Sheng Tian sat alone in the dark. Ninth Brother, he whispered. Don't blame Big Brother. Blame yourself for being too talented. What I didn't know was that the Shadow Organization had already set everything in motion. In the lawless domain, inside a black palace floating in endless darkness, the Shadow held a meeting. Not with 1 or 2 Star Lords, with dozens of them. All at once. Dozens of communication stones lit up simultaneously, each projecting a blurry figure radiating suffocating pressure. Star Chen's Lord. Primordial Star's Lord. Dark Abyss Star's Lord. Chaos Star's Lord. And many more. The Shadow told them all the same thing. Holy Light Star's 9th Prince was entering the medicine field space tomorrow. He was level 112. He'd learned to refine blue-grade divine power pills in 1 month. He was going in to find an ancient alchemist legacy, and he was carrying the Holy Light Shield. the last of 3 relics made by the founding ancestor, capable of blocking a level 190 full power attack for 7 days. The shadow laid out the math. At level 112, anyone above level 132 could kill me. The 20-level gap meant my attacks would do 0 damage. Even with the blood explosion art's 100 times boost, 0 times 100 was still 0. The only problem was the holy light shield keeping me alive for the full 3 days until the space closed. So the shadow offered them a solution. Seal Path Jade, a specialty from the lawless domain. Crush it and sprinkle the dust on the target, and for 7 days they can't use any items, including the holy light shield. 1 million purple-grade divine power pills per stone. Not cheap, but for them, not much either. Primordial Stars Lord didn't hesitate. I'll take 3. Dark Abyss Stars Lord. 3. Chaos Stars Lord. 3. One after another, every top 10 planet bought 3. Planets ranked 10 to 50 bought 1 or 2 each. Everyone below 50 bought 1. The shadow packed each stone in a black box marked with the buyer's symbol and promised delivery. No refunds. Then the shadow reminded them all. If I survived and came out with the legacy, within 100 years Holy Light Star would produce a second ancestor. A second Shengwudi. And when that happened, none of their planets would even get to keep the lives they had now. Star Chin's Lord asked why the shadow was helping them. I'm not helping you. I'm doing business. One by one, the Star Lord's projections faded like candles blown out by wind. The shadow sat alone in the dark palace, holding the last seal path jade, turning it in his palm. Sheng Yuan, he said. Who are you really? No answer. He put the stone away and closed his eyes. Later that night on Star Chun, the Star Lord sat on his terrace staring at the black box containing his 3 seal path jades. 300 million purple-grade divine power pills spent. His elder said it was a lot of money. Worth it, the Star Lord cut him off. If Sheng Yuan walks out alive, Holy Light Star will have a second ancestor within a century. When that happens, we'll be living as slaves. He opened the box. 3 black stones lay inside, runes pulsing with dark red light like heartbeats. He picked one up and turned it in front of his eyes. Every planet that had ever been threatened, conquered, or overshadowed by Holy Light Star had bought these stones. Every single Star Lord wanted me dead, and now they all had the tool to strip away my only protection. I had no idea any of this was happening. Tomorrow morning, I'd walk into the medicine field space, thinking my biggest challenge was finding herbs and pill recipes. I'd be walking into a trap set by nearly every planet in the star region. What I didn't know was that every planet had given their 3 entrants the same mission. Forget the herbs. Kill Sheng Yuan. On Star Chun, the Star Lord called his 3 fighters to the terrace at night. Sheng Tianheng, level 139. Sheng Tianwu, level 138. Sheng Tianyang, level 138. He gave each one a seal path jade and told them their job wasn't gathering herbs. It was finding me, crushing the jade, sprinkling the dust on me to disable my holy light shield, and then killing me. The planet's future was in their hands, he said. Every other Star Lord did the same thing. Dozens of planets. Hundreds of fighters. All hunting one target. The morning came before dawn. I stood on the teleportation plaza, looking up at the crack in the sky. It was wider than yesterday, golden light pouring out like a river running backwards. Inside the light, I could see herb shapes drifting out and dissolving into sparks. Kind of pretty, actually, I said. Nobody answered. Sheng Lihua stood to my left, level 139, 97 years old. Tall, thin, shoulders like a clothes hanger, face like a hatchet. He hadn't said a single word since we met. Sheng Tianqi stood to my right, level 138, 96. Short, round, looked like a dumpling vendor. He told me that once inside, we'd be scattered to random locations. He said the Emperor had ordered him and Sheng Lihua to find me first and protect me before doing anything else. You're going to protect me? I said. He smiled like a farmer watching his crops grow. Star-Lord's orders. I smiled back. I had no intention of letting them find me. With those 2 hovering around, I couldn't move freely to search for herbs and recipes. The plaza was quiet. Just the 3 of us, the Emperor, Elder Sheng Xian, and the 4th Elder. No crowds, no fanfare. The Emperor looked at me. Remember, safety first. He clapped my shoulder hard. Elder Sheng Xian brought me a black wooden box containing 30 pills, healing pills, spirit recovery pills, and antidotes, all blue-grade. The fourth elder pulled me aside. Watch out for the top 10 planets fighters. If they see you in there, they might abandon herb gathering to come kill you. Don't hesitate. Use the holy light shield immediately. I nodded. Got it. The emperor looked at my 2 bodyguards. If the 9th prince loses a single hair, don't bother coming back. Sheng Tianqi nodded quickly. Sheng Lihua didn't nod, but he spoke for the first time. He won't. The crack in the sky suddenly burst open like a blooming flower. Thousands of golden threads shot outward, then pulled back together, forming a massive golden circle in the sky. The edges glowed gold. The center was empty, like a door. Sheng Lihua walked underneath it first and stood like a post. Sheng Tianqi followed. I stepped between them. 3 people, standing in a circle, backs to each other, facing 3 directions. The emperor stood beside us. 3 days inside. When it closes, you'll be teleported out automatically. He paused. Come back alive. That's an order. The door in the sky lit up. Golden light poured down like a waterfall, washing over all 3 of us. I felt warmth, then a sharp tug, then darkness. I opened my eyes. I was standing in a grassland. The grass was golden, knee-high, swaying in the wind like a sea of gold. A faint herbal fragrance drifted on the breeze. The sky was pale gold, like someone had draped a thin veil over it. I looked left. Nobody. Right. Nobody. Behind me. Nobody. Sheng Lihua wasn't here. Sheng Tianqi wasn't here. Perfect, I said to myself. Random landing spots. Exactly what I wanted. No bodyguards tagging along. I could move freely, find what I needed, and work at my real strength without anyone watching. What I didn't know was that somewhere out in this same golden grassland, hundreds of fighters from dozens of planets were also landing, each one carrying a seal path jade, each one with a single mission burned into their minds: find Sheng Yuan and kill him. I stood on the golden grassland, wind blowing through knee-high grass that shimmered like a golden sea. First thing I did was change my face. Sheng Yuan's appearance was too recognizable after the death duel broadcast. Over 30,000 people had entered this space, and plenty of them probably wanted me dead. If I walked around looking like the 9th prince, I'd be fighting off attackers all day instead of gathering herbs. I activated my illusion form technique. Cheekbones narrowed, jaw lengthened, nose sharpened. Black hair turned deep brown, golden eyes turned gray-blue. 3 centimeters shorter, slightly narrower shoulders, skin a shade darker. Now nobody could recognize me. I started walking. The grassland was enormous, and small herb patches dotted the landscape. Black soil squares standing out against the golden grass. Each patch had a plant growing in the center, and each plant had a guardian beast nearby. The first herb was a blue-grade spirit-gathering flower, guarded by a level 125 black scale snake. The snake lunged at me, mouth wide, fangs gleaming. I grabbed it by the throat and squeezed. It disintegrated instantly. My attack power was in the hundreds of trillions. The snake had 500 billion health. It wasn't even close. You're level 125. What gave you the courage to charge me? I plucked the flower and moved on. More herbs, more guardian beasts. A level 126 pangolin guarding divine power grass. 3 level 127 poison wasps guarding spirit-fusing roots. I harvested everything and killed every guardian without breaking a sweat. The level gap was irrelevant when my stats were billions of times higher than theirs. At the 7th herb, I heard something. Footsteps, heavy and panicked. Someone screaming. Run. Faster. A man burst out of the tall grass 100 meters away. Gray battle armor with a hole punched through the chest, blood pouring out. He'd lost one shoe and was leaving bloody footprints in the golden grass. Behind him, a massive beast. 4 meters tall, 6 meters long, covered in black scales, lion-shaped head full of fangs. A level 135 dark scale lion. The man spotted me and screamed louder. Brother, help. This thing's been chasing me for 3 miles. He collapsed at my feet, gasping, blood pooling on the grass. I walked past him toward the lion. It crouched 30 meters away, golden slit pupils locked on me, claws shredding the ground. It lunged. 4 meters of beast flying at me like a small mountain, jaws open, drool hanging from its fangs. I didn't dodge. 1 punch to the head. The lion flew sideways, crashed through the grass, slid 15 meters, and stopped. Dead. Lots of roaring. Can't take 1 punch, I said, dusting off my hand. The man on the ground stared at the lion's corpse, jaw practically on the floor. One punch. I found a green-grade silver leaf herb growing near the lion's body. Bonus. I collected it and turned to leave. The man scrambled up, legs still shaking, clutching the hole in his chest. Blood seeped between his fingers, but he was smiling, a bitter, pained smile. Brother, you saved my life. I'm Lang Mia, from Wolf Star, branch family. Level 134. Came in looking for luck, found bad luck instead. Wolf Star. 2 years ago, I disguised myself as someone from Wolf Star. Looked like after they discovered my impersonation, they'd let the real Wolf Star off the hook. He asked how strong I was. I didn't answer. Then he pulled out a cloth bundle with a green-grade healing pill inside. This is the most valuable thing I own. Take it. Repayment for saving my life. I didn't need healing pills. My health regenerated 100% every second. No thanks. I insist. He shoved the bundle at me. I'm a man who repays his debts. His eyes were bloodshot but sincere. Looked sincere anyway. Fine. I reached for the bundle. The instant my fingers touched the cloth, his right hand moved. Not a giving motion, an attack. White light blazed from his palm. Not pill light, some kind of single-use attack item being activated. His palm slammed into my chest. Boom. I stumbled back 2 steps. Looked down. A scorched handprint on my robe, charred edges curling black. But my skin was fine. No blood. 10 quadrillion divine attack damage. My reflected damage sent 25% of that right back at him. I looked up. Lang Mia was on his knees, dead, bleeding from all 7 openings. His eyes were frozen wide in shock. Why didn't a level 150 full power attack kill this guy? I pressed my hand against his forehead and activated Death's Eye. His memories flooded into my mind. Lang Mia, Wolf Star Branch family, level 134. 3 years ago, he'd spent his entire savings at an auction to buy a single-use attack item called Skyrending Palm. 1 hit at level 150's full power. He was a habitual ambush attacker who'd done this to many people before. He hadn't recognized me as Sheng Yuan. He just saw someone strong who probably carried valuable items and decided to try his usual trick. But the memories also confirmed something more important. He knew I was entering the medicine field space. He'd been told. And he was carrying a seal path jade. I searched his ring. There it was, 1 seal path jade, black stone with dark red pulsing runes. So it was true. People in here knew about me and were carrying tools specifically designed to disable my holy light shield. I pocketed the jade and kept walking. I stored the seal path jade and kept moving deeper into the grassland. The grass grew taller as I walked, knee-high, then waist-high. After half an hour, the ground started sloping upward. When I reached the top of the hill, I stopped and looked down. Below was a huge basin, at least 500 meters across. Over 200 people stood inside, all surrounding one massive beast in the center. The beast was enormous, 10 meters tall, 15 meters long, covered in crimson scales each the size of a dinner plate. Its head looked like a bull's, but with a bigger mouth and sharper teeth. Golden slit pupils. Every time its hooves stamped the ground, the earth shook. Behind the beast grew a single plant. Half a foot tall, crimson stem, golden leaves, and 1 fist-sized red fruit at the top. Crimson interior fruit. I'd seen it in herb catalogs. A crimson-grade material that only grew inside the medicine field space. Used by level 170 cultivators. Impossible to buy outside. Worth maybe 1 million green-grade divine power pills on the market. The 200 people were split into dozens of small groups, all watching each other with suspicion. Nobody trusted anybody. Nobody wanted to move first. Everyone was waiting for someone else to charge in and take damage so they could swoop in afterward. I crouched behind the grass at the hilltop and watched the show. The big factions started arguing. A Star-Chin fighter named Chun Tianba, level 138, huge guy carrying an axe bigger than his head, suggested the major planets team up to kill the beast, then split the fruit based on contribution. A primordial star fighter shot that down immediately, saying nobody could agree on who did more damage afterward. A dark abyss fighter laughed at the idea of signing contracts, pointing out that 200 scattered cultivators would never all agree to terms. Nobody could reach a deal. The fruit kept glowing brighter and brighter. It was almost ripe. Then the beast licked the fruit. It cracked open, crimson light pouring from the split like someone lit a lamp underground. The light hit the beast's golden eyes and made them glow like hot coals. The fruit was ripe. 200 pairs of eyes lit up at once. Chen Tianba lost patience first. He charged in swinging his axe, full power, level 138 strength concentrated into one massive swing. The blade came down on the beast's skull like a crescent moon falling from the sky. Clang! The beast's head tilted slightly, then straightened. A white scratch on its forehead, not even fingernail deep. That was it. Full power hit from a level 138, and it barely left a mark. The beast opened its mouth and roared. A shockwave blasted outward like an invisible wall. Chen Tianba took it head-on, flew backward, crashed into a rock, chest caved in, blood leaking from his mouth. He tried to stand, his legs buckled, and he dropped back to his knees. One hit. A level 138 fighter, critically wounded by a single roar. I stayed on the hilltop, watching. No rush. Let them fight first. I watched from the hilltop as 200 people tried to fight the Crimson Armor Beast. It was a slaughter. The beast was level 145. These people were mostly level 130-something. The gap was too big. A Star-Chin fighter named Chun Tianba charged in first with his axe, full power, level 138. The axe left a scratch thinner than a fingernail. The beast roared once and sent him flying, chest caved in. Then everyone rushed in together. Swords, axes, daggers, all bouncing off the scales like hitting iron. The beast didn't even try. It stomped one person flat, whipped its tail, and broke 3 spines. Head butted another 150 meters through the air, neck snapped on landing. A Dark Abyss fighter named Yongji stabbed the beast's eye. Couldn't pierce the eyelid. The beast bit his entire right arm off at the shoulder. Blood sprayed like a fountain. His partner stopped the bleeding, but the arm was gone. The only progress was a primordial star fighter named Taishu Bai. He stabbed the same belly scale dozens of times until a tiny crack appeared, fingernail-sized. That was it. 50 people dead, 30 wounded, and 1 fingernail crack to show for it. After 100 levels, every 10 levels meant a 100-fold difference. They simply couldn't hurt it. I stood up and dusted off my knees. My turn. I couldn't damage the beast either. I was level 120, 25 levels below it. My attacks would do 0. But that wasn't the point. The point was the fruit behind it. I just needed to tank the beast's hits long enough to grab it. The math was simple. The beast's attack was 5 quadrillion. My health was 736 billion multiplied by hundreds of trillions. Its strongest hit wouldn't scratch 1/millionth of my health, and I regenerated everything in 1 second anyway. I walked down the slope into the basin. Nobody noticed me. I looked completely ordinary. Brown hair, gray-blue eyes, average build. Forgettable. I walked to the front of the crowd, stood 50 meters from the beast, and called it over. Come, the beast roared. The shockwave hit me like a wall. 5 quadrillion damage. My hair blew back. My clothes fluttered. I didn't move an inch. The entire basin went silent. Chen Tianba's jaw dropped. He took the roar and didn't even flinch. I brushed dust off my sleeve. That's it. The beast went berserk. It raised its massive hoof and stomped down on me. The ground exploded into a crater, rocks and dirt flying everywhere. The dust cleared. I stood in the crater. Hair messy, face dusty, but standing. Perfectly fine. Taishu Bai's hands were shaking, not from his wounds, from shock. What kind of monster is this guy? The beast looked down at me, confusion in its blood-red eyes. It had lived for who knows how long and never seen anything like this. Someone tanked its stomp and nothing happened. I looked up at the beast. Did you skip breakfast? It stomped again. Another crater. I was still standing in it, brushing dust off my shoulder. Not enough power. The fruit was 10 meters behind the beast, 50 meters from me. I needed to get close. But walking straight there wouldn't work. The beast would block me. So I'd use the beast's own strength. I sprinted toward it. Full speed, level 120 power in my legs. The beast panicked slightly and tried to kick me. I dodged the first swing, slipping to its side. It kicked again. This time I let it connect, but I angled my body first so the kick would launch me toward the fruit. The hoof slammed into me, and I flew 10 meters through the air. Landed, bounced, rolled twice, and stopped. Right next to the fruit. 1 meter away. The beast realized what happened. It charged at me, mouth open. I grabbed the fruit. Fist-sized, warm like fresh bread. Stuffed it into my soul storage. The beast reached me and bit down on my body. Its jaws clamped shut. Nothing happened. It couldn't even dent me. It bit harder, using everything it had. Two of its own teeth broke off. It let go and stepped back. The fury in its eyes shifted to despair. This thing it couldn't kill had just stolen its fruit and cracked its teeth. Teeth hurt? I asked. Then I turned around and ran. Sprinted out of the basin, up the slope, and disappeared into the tall grass. Behind me, the beast lost its mind completely. It let out the loudest roar yet, shockwaves cracking stones, shaking the ground, making people's ears bleed. Then it turned its rage on everyone still in the basin. It went on a rampage, stomping people flat, biting them in half, sweeping groups away with its tail. Then it did something worse. Light gathered in its throat, glowing like magma. Its neck swelled, scales splitting open. A massive beam of crimson light blasted from its mouth, sweeping across the basin. Everything the beam touched vanished. Grass, rocks, people, vaporized instantly. Not even bones left. Over 200 people had been in that basin. By the time the beast finished, fewer than 30 were still alive, all running in different directions. The beast stood in the center, panting, surrounded by bodies. Some whole, some in pieces, some just puddles of blood. The light beam had drained it, but it was still furious. It raised its head and stared in the direction I'd gone. Then it sniffed the ground, not looking for blood, but for the fruit's scent. It caught the trail. It charged after me, faster than before, for hooves pounding the earth like drums. I'd already crossed the hill and run deep into a forest. The trees were tall, at least 20 meters, with golden trunks, golden leaves, golden everything. Sunlight filtered through the canopy, casting broken gold patterns on the ground. I leaned against a tree and caught my breath. Far enough, I leaned against a golden tree and checked the crimson interior fruit in my soul storage. Fist-sized, still glowing like a heartbeat. Worth 1,000,000 green-grade divine power pills. Perfect condition. Then I heard it. Thudding footsteps, getting closer. The beast had followed me into the forest. I finished my osmanthus cake, stood up, and walked deeper into the trees without rushing. The beast crashed through behind me, smashing golden trees like toothpicks. But the forest was too dense for something 10 meters tall. I slipped through easily while it struggled. After about 15 minutes, it lost my scent at a clearing of black soil. Something about that spot made it hesitate, animal instinct warning it away. It stood there a long time, then turned around and left. It gave up. I kept walking for half an hour. The forest thinned out, trees spacing wider, more light coming through. Then I stepped out into open ground. A palace stood in the center. Massive. I had to crane my neck to see the roof. Golden tiles layered like dragon scales. White jade walls with living patterns flowing inside them like clouds or water. The front door was 20 meters tall, carved with a picture of a person standing on a mountain holding a glowing book. Holding a book. An alchemist? I muttered. At least 10,000 people crowded outside the entrance. The door was open, but a thin golden barrier blocked the way. People were shoving, arguing, trying everything to get through. Hands, shoulders, weapons. Every attempt bounced them right back. I watched for a while, thinking about what the barrier might filter for. Level? Age? Bloodline? Talent? I didn't know, but I needed to try. I pushed through the crowd to the front. Someone behind me laughed. Watch him bounce. I reached out and touched the barrier. Golden light exploded from it like a stone dropped in still water. Rings of light spread outward, blinding everyone. When the light faded, I was on the other side. 10,000 jaws dropped at once, pointing, shaking, shouting. How did he get in? Someone charged the barrier after me and got launched backward, skidding across the ground, losing 2 front teeth. I glanced back through the transparent barrier at all those stunned faces. Sorry. Going on ahead, the corridor inside was wide enough for 10 people, white jade floor polished to a mirror finish. Murals covered both walls. An alchemist refining pills that turned into stars, eventually ascending to heaven. I walked for 15 minutes until I reached a wooden door, old and worn, with 2 carved characters. Pill Hall. I pushed it open. Inside was an enormous room with a bronze alchemy furnace in the center, 3 meters tall, 2 meters wide, covered in glowing golden runes. A small dragon coiled on the lid, mouth open as the vent. Way bigger than my 8 trigrams furnace. Behind the furnace stood a bookshelf, packed with volumes of every color. I read the spines one by one. Alchemy introductions, fire control guides, herb catalogs from beginner to advanced. And then, recipe collections. Purple grade, blue grade, green grade, all the way up to crimson grade. I grabbed every recipe book off the shelf. Purple grade, blue grade, green grade, all the way up to crimson grade. Stuffed them all into my soul storage. Then I spotted one more book in the top corner. White cover, half transparent like jade, something flowing inside it. No title, no markings. When I touched it, coolness spread from my fingertips through my arm and into my heart. I flipped through, every page blank except the last one. Heaven Grade Divine Power Pill Recipe. For the destined one, Heaven Grade was 2 ranks above Crimson. For cultivators between level 190 and 199. The earlier pages held hidden information, encrypted somehow, needing a key I didn't have yet. I stored that too and turned to the furnace. 3 meters tall, bronze, covered in glowing runes, with a small dragon coiled on the lid. I tried pulling it into my soul storage. Nothing happened. Tried again. Still nothing. I crouched down and found a symbol on the bottom. When I touched it, the whole furnace hummed. The dragon's eyes lit up, golden, vertical pupils staring at me. It spoke, deep voice like a bell on bronze. Want the Heaven Grade furnace? Pass the Heaven Grade test. Learn the Heaven Grade fire control technique. It's inside me. The dragon spat out a crystal sphere. I pressed my palm against it and sent my spirit sense in. Information exploded into my brain. Thousands of characters, diagrams, formulas, all flooding in at once. Heaven Grade fire control was completely different from Orange Grade. Orange Grade used spirit sense as a hand to manipulate fire. Heaven Grade used pure thought. No spirit sense, no hands, no tools. Fire becomes your will. You think it bigger, it grows. You think it smaller, it shrinks. No middle steps. I sent the command to all 999 clones. Learn Heaven Grade fire control. The hardest part was unlearning. Spirit sense was habit. Every time you tried to control fire, it surged forward automatically. The breakthrough came when one clone stopped treating fire as a tool and started treating it like a body part. You don't think about lifting your hand. You just lift it. Fire should work the same way. I synced that insight to everyone. Thousands of attempts, failures, and successes flowing back and forth across 999 minds simultaneously. I opened my eyes, placed my hand on the furnace. No spirit sense. No technique. I just thought fire. The runes lit up. Flames rose from the bottom. I thought bigger. They grew. Smaller. They shrank. Done. The dragon stared at me. Less than half an hour. Long silence. My master took 1 month. The furnace began shrinking, from 3 meters down to palm-sized. The dragon shrank with it, becoming thumb-thick, like a curled worm on the tiny lid. Blood to bond, the dragon said in a mosquito-thin voice. I bit my finger and dripped blood onto the lid. The furnace hummed, and golden light shot into my forehead. An old, distant voice spoke. You have talent. This furnace followed me my whole life. Now it's yours. The voice faded. The dragon told me that was its master's final message before ascending. The furnace had waited here for tens of millions of years. What's your name? I asked. I don't have one. Master called me Furnace. I'll call you Little Dragon. Its mouth twitched. Whatever. I stored the furnace, Little Dragon included, and walked back through the corridor toward the barrier, leaving behind an empty room. I stood inside the barrier, looking out at over 10,000 people staring back at me. I knew that look, pure greed. They figured anyone who got inside that palace must have grabbed incredible treasures. He definitely got something amazing in there. Recipes. Pills. A furnace. Must be loaded. The voices grew louder. The crowd surged forward like a tide. A big guy in golden armor from Star Chun stood at the front. Level 138. Brother, what did you get in there? Guess, I said. Then the barrier started fading. From semi-transparent to fully transparent to thin mist. The wind blew it away. Gone. 10,000 people charged at once. Rob him. The first one reached me. Level 133, swinging a long blade at my neck. The blade hit and snapped in half. He stared at my neck, not even a mark. I punched him in the face. He flew into the crowd, knocked over 7 or 8 people, and didn't get up. Second guy. Level 135, Dark Abyss Star, twin daggers aimed at my chest. Both shattered on contact. A fragment cut his own face. I punched his chest, and he sailed backward, bowling over 3 more. Third, fourth, fifth. They kept coming. Every weapon broke against my body. Swords snapped. Axes cracked. Daggers shattered. 1 punch each. Under 2 minutes, over 100 bodies littered the ground, piled on top of each other like discarded dolls. Blood pooled beneath them, dark red under golden sunlight. Finally, the rest noticed something was wrong. Over 10,000 people froze. Absolute silence, the kind that seeps into your bones. They stared at me. Not a wrinkle on my clothes. Not a scratch on my skin. 100 people dead, every level from 130 to 138, and I looked like I'd been standing still the whole time. The big guy in golden armor was still there, feet glued to the ground. I looked at him. Still want to rob me? He didn't answer. A thin guy from Primordial Star, Taishu Xian, level 137, stepped backward into a blood puddle. His shoe squelched. He looked down, saw his soul was red, and his face went white. His mind was racing. He thought of a name. Someone who killed 1,000 monsters in a secret realm, one-shot a level 128 boss, survived 80 trillion points of self-destruct damage. Su Lin. His face went from white to gray, but he didn't say it out loud. He turned and ran. Then one person ran. Then a group. Then everyone. Like sparrows scattered by a thrown rock. 10,000 people fled in every direction. The plaza emptied. Just me, 100 corpses, and puddles of blood. I looked at my fist. 100 people, 100 punches. My hand isn't even sore. I crouched down and started collecting rings. One by one, pulling them off fingers, checking what was inside. The first ring had millions in currency, a gear set, and 23 green-gray divine power pills worth 100,000 divine power each. Plus 3 green-gray pills. I kept going. Ring after ring, body after body. Like a squirrel sorting through nuts. 15 minutes later, all 100-plus rings were cleaned out. Final count. 1,138 green-grade divine power pills and 27 higher-tier green-grade pills. Enough to push me past level 130. I stood up and dusted off my knees, looking at the bodies. Thanks, brothers. I looted the rings from all the bodies. One by one, like a squirrel sorting nuts. 15 minutes later, I had my haul. 138 green-grade divine power pills at 100,000 divine power each, and 27 higher-tier green-grade pills at 1,000,000 each. Enough to push me well past level 130. Were these people here to gather herbs or deliver pills to me? I said, standing up and dusting off my knees. Thanks, brothers. Time to keep moving. I had everything I came for and more. Heaven-grade furnace, heaven-grade fire control, recipe books from every grade up to crimson, plus that mysterious white book with the encrypted heaven-grade recipe. Not a bad trip at all. I walked across the grassland for about half an hour. Then I heard it. Explosions. Distant but loud. Boom, boom, boom. People shouting. Hit the left side. Block it. I climbed over 2 mountains toward the noise. From the second peak, I looked down and froze. A basin below, at least 2,000 meters across. 20,000 people packed inside, surrounding the biggest beast I'd seen yet. 30 meters tall, 50 meters long, covered in silver-white scales, each the size of a door. Dragon-shaped head, silver eyes with vertical pupils. Every time its hooves stamped, the ground shook. Behind it grew a single plant, silver stem, transparent crystal leaves, and a fist-sized silver-white fruit glowing at the top. Earth-grade herb. For level 180 to 190 cultivators. Almost never seen, even inside the medicine field space. No wonder 20,000 people showed up. The beast was level 150. Blue scale beast. 10 quadrillion health, 1 quadrillion attack, with 90% damage reduction from its armor. And a death ability. When near death, it self-destructs for 200 billion divine attack damage. I checked my own health. 7,360 billion. Probably the only person here who could survive that explosion. 20,000 fighters attacked from every angle. Fire, ice, lightning, wind, light, shadow, skills exploding against the beast like fireworks. The sound was like a non-stop string of firecrackers. The beast didn't care. It stood there like a silver mountain. Skills hit its scales and left nothing, not even a scratch. It barely looked at the attackers. Its eyes stayed fixed on the fruit behind it. 500 corpses already littered the basin floor. Stomped flat, frozen into ice sculptures, blown to pieces. The center was painted dark red with blood. But Tuan people attacking non-stop had finally done something. Tiny cracks appeared in the scales. Not many, just a few, like dried riverbeds. They were grinding it down through sheer volume. Then the beast's eyes changed. Silver to blood red. Calm to insane. It opened its mouth and silver-white light gathered instantly. No slow build-up this time. A beam blasted out, sweeping across the basin. Everyone it touched froze into ice statues, holding their last pose. Then the statues cracked from top to bottom and shattered. 300 dead in one breath. Some people wanted to retreat. Others refused. An earth-grade herb appearing once in tens of thousands of years, they'd never get another chance. The crowd split between running and fighting. I crouched on the mountaintop, hidden in the grass, watching. Keep fighting, I muttered. When you're all done, I'll go down and pick up the pieces. I watched from the mountaintop as the blue-scale beast sprayed ice breath again. 200 more people frozen and shattered. Bodies piling up. Blood flowing in streams across the basin floor. The beast was weakening, though. Tuan people hammering it non-stop had finally cracked its scales. A Starchin leader named Chun Tianxiong rallied everyone. Ranged attacks on its left eye, melee fighters behind it chopping its tail, and air units watching its mouth to interrupt its breath attacks. When they blasted skills into its open throat, the ice breath fizzled out. It actually worked. The cracks spread across the silver scales, from a few to dozens to hundreds, covering the armor like a spider web. The beast started panting. Its eyes dimmed from blood red to dark red. Then it did something terrifying. It gathered golden light in its throat, not silver this time. Blinding, like a sun, the energy erupted. A golden mushroom cloud rose from the basin center. The shockwave ripped up grass, launched rocks, and blew people away like leaves. Even on my hilltop, I stumbled back 2 steps. When the cloud cleared, the beast was still standing, but barely. Most of its scales had shattered, exposing red flesh underneath. Black blood dripped from its wounds. Its eyes faded to gray. But behind it, the fruit glowed brighter than ever. Out of 20,000 people, fewer than 3,000 survived. A primordial star leader named Taishu Ming suggested waiting for the fruit to fully ripen. He predicted the beast would stop fighting to protect it. He was right. When the fruit burst with silver-white light, the beast turned to face the crowd, gathered white light in its throat, then stopped. It couldn't fire anymore. Its chest was too damaged. Everyone charged. Swords and axes hacked into the exposed flesh. Black blood sprayed everywhere. The beast didn't fight back. It just stood there, eyes looking at the sky, golden and empty. No pain, no anger. Like it was watching something very far away. It had guarded that fruit its whole life. Now the fruit was ripe, and it was dying. 15 minutes later, its blood ran out. Its eyes went from gold to gray to white. Then it collapsed like a falling mountain, shaking the ground. The survivors started moving toward the fruit. But everyone walked slowly, watching each other, afraid of getting stabbed in the back. Nobody wanted to be first. That was my opening. I stood up on the hilltop. My turn. I ran down the slope, fast. I wasn't afraid of anyone attacking me from behind. What was there to fear? I sprinted into the basin, splashing through puddles of black blood. Someone in gray armor turned and asked who I was. I didn't answer. He grabbed my shoulder. I backhanded him. He flew 15 meters and hit the ground face down. Dead. The basin went silent. Nobody moved as I walked past them toward the fruit. 20 meters. 10. 5. A big guy in golden armor stepped in front of me. Chun Tianxiong, level 139, Star Chen's leader. He pointed his great sword at my throat and asked who I was. Move, I said. He didn't. He thrust his sword at my chest. Full power, level 139. The blade hit me and snapped in half. The tip spun through the air and stuck in the dirt. He stared at the broken handle in his hand, then at my chest. A white dot on my robe that I wiped away with one finger. I punched him once. He flew 20 meters, smashed through a rock, broke a tree, and landed face down in a pool of blood. Dead. Someone from the crowd recognized me. That's him. The one from the palace. Killed 100 people with one punch each. 10,000 couldn't touch him. The basin erupted in whispers. People backed away. Nobody dared move forward. A primordial star leader named Taishu Ming stood on a rock, staring at me. You think one person can take something from 2,000 of us? I looked at him. Did you plant this fruit? Did you raise it? Then how is it yours? I crouched down and plucked the fruit. Silver white, fist-sized, light flowing across its surface like liquid starlight. Stored it away. A dark abyss leader named Yongjua charged me with twin daggers. Both shattered against my chest. I punched his face, and he flew backward into a rock. Done. I looked around at the remaining 2,000. Anyone else have objections? Because I'm happy to make you stay permanently. Taishu Ming's brain was spinning. I could see it on his face. He was connecting dots. The palace, the one-punch kills, the invulnerability. He was thinking of a name. A man who died 2 years ago and came back. Who killed 1,000 monsters in a secret realm. Who survived 80 trillion damage. He didn't say it out loud, though. Smart man. He jumped off his rock and said one word. Go. His team froze. But the fruit, forget it. He walked away fast. Then everyone else followed. Like dominoes. One group, then 10, then 100, then all 2,000, scattering in every direction. Faster than they'd come. The basin emptied. Just me and about 18,000 corpses. I crouched down and started collecting rings. This time it wasn't 100 bodies. It was 18,000. I worked through them like a machine. Pull ring off finger, scan contents with spirit sense, take the pills, take the gear, take anything valuable, toss the rest. Over and over. It took me a full hour. My back ached, my hands were sore, my eyes were blurry. Final count. 32,800 green-grade divine power pills and 1,200 higher-tier green-grade pills. I stared at those numbers and laughed out loud. Enough to reach level 140. I stored everything, stood up, dusted myself off, and looked back at the field of bodies one last time. Thanks, brothers. Then I left. Time to find more herbs. The sky was turning dark when I left the basin. I walked through rolling hills covered in golden grass until I spotted firelight behind a slope, a small camp. About 15 people sat around a bonfire in a little valley, with tents scattered around. A guard spotted me. I told him I was just passing through alone. Their leader stood up, a tall man in black armor named Taishanha. Honest-looking face, big hands, calm voice. He offered me a drink. Strong liquor that burned my throat. He asked if I was alone. I said yes. A skinny young guy named Sun Xiaoho started pestering me with questions. What level? What planet? I told him I was from a small place called Sanshua Star. He'd never heard of it. Good. Then Taishanha got to the point. He said there was a mountain to the north with a huge herb field at its base, at least 500 meters across, filled with green-grade herbs and higher. But it was guarded by at least 10 beasts, level 140 to 145. Their group wasn't strong enough alone, so they were gathering people. More arrived through the evening, including a woman called Red Lady, tall, sharp-featured, wearing red armor with a sword at her hip. She brought 50 fighters. By nightfall, over 200 people had gathered around 5 bonfires. Taishanha laid out the plan. They'd send teams to lure the guardian beasts away from the herb field while the rest rushed in to harvest. The beast-luring teams would be chosen by lottery. Red Lady backed the plan. When someone complained it wasn't fair, she looked at him and said anyone who refused after drawing their number would get her sword. Nobody argued after that. I drew number 35. Second team. The next morning, the first team of 10 stepped forward. Some were pale, some shaking, some blank-faced. Taishanha told them their job wasn't fighting. Just lure the beasts east, then run back. Simple in theory. Sun Xiaoho stood beside me watching them leave. He started talking, as usual. Asked how many I thought would survive. He guessed half. He told me he'd done this 3 times before. The first 2 he got lucky and lived. The third time, he felt his luck had run out, so he ran away before it started. I admit I'm a coward, he said quietly. But I don't want to die. I didn't say anything. I was thinking about the secret realm, the lottery there, the people who drew the short sticks. Iron Bull, the short guy, the fat one, the thin tall one, all dead. Then a roar came from the north. Deep, heavy like thunder. A flash of light exploded at the mountain's base. Someone had used a skill. Then a louder roar. Taishanha stood at the front, staring toward the mountain. It started. The camp went silent. We waited in the basin while the first group went to lure the beasts away from the medicine field. Only one guy came back, limping, covered in blood. The other 9 were dead. He said they pulled 6 beasts out, but the creatures were too fast. Then it was my turn. 10 of us walked toward the Black Mountain. At its base sat a huge medicine field, maybe 500 meters wide, full of rare herbs in every color. 6 grayscale beasts guarded it, each one 5 meters tall, with wolf heads and snake eyes. Before we left, a guy named Sun Xiaoho read my fortune with old copper coins. He went pale and said the coins called me a dead man, surrounded by the dead. I told him to stay away from me then. He scooted back 10 meters. I took the leftmost beast, threw a rock at its head, let it chase me to the eastern clearing, then crushed the signal stone to tell the others I was done. The beast was fast, but I kept just ahead of it on purpose. From a hilltop, I watched the others lure the remaining 5. A young guy in leather armor couldn't keep up. His legs were shaking the whole time. The beast caught him. I didn't watch what happened next. With all 6 beasts drawn away, the field was unguarded. I ran in and started harvesting everything: spirit grass, gathering flowers, fusion roots, and herbs I couldn't even name. Worked for about 15 minutes straight. 3,000 plants. I cleaned out the entire field. I ran back to the group with not a scratch on me. Taishan had noticed. He gave me a look, but didn't ask questions. Smart man. People started coming back one by one. The middle-aged guy made it with a cut on his arm. The woman in silver armor lost a shoe and her feet were bloody. 6 of us came back out of 10. For dead. The young guy with the shaking legs never returned. Taishan had told everyone the field was unguarded and it was time to harvest. The whole crowd went crazy. Over 200 people sprinting toward the mountain, screaming about getting rich. Sun Xiaoho ran beside me babbling about how many herbs we'd split between us. I told him not to celebrate too early. When the first people reached the field, they froze. The herbs were gone. Every last one. Not even roots left. The soil was still wet, freshly picked. Taishana's face went from normal to dark to black. He started yelling, demanding to know who took everything. Red Lady checked the dirt and confirmed someone had just harvested it all. She said the thief had to be one of us, since no outsiders knew about today's operation. Nobody stepped forward. Of course not. The herbs were sitting in my soul storage, piled up like a small mountain. And I wasn't saying a word. Tai Shanha pulled out a stone that projected a light screen. It could display whatever was inside a spatial ring. He made everyone line up and show their rings one by one. I watched them go through nearly 200 people. Nothing turned up. It never would. My soul storage isn't a spatial ring. That light screen can't touch it. He called me up for a second check since I was the most suspicious. Went to lure a beast, came back last. Not a single wound. I put my ring on the screen. Coins, equipment, pills. 0 herbs. He stared at me for 3 seconds. I stared right back. He told me to go stand with the others. Sun Xiaoho whispered that he'd been sure it was me. I asked him how he knew it wasn't. He said because the screen showed nothing. I didn't reply to that. After checking every single person and finding nothing, Tai Shanha stood there white-faced with rage. He admitted defeat. Someone had stolen everything right under his nose, and he couldn't figure out who. Then the ground started shaking. Heavy footsteps, lots of them. The 6 gray-armored beasts were back, standing on the hillside in a row, staring down at us. All 6. They'd returned. We were trapped. The 6 gray-armored beasts came back to the field, and behind us, the red-armored beasts from the first group returned too. Surrounded on all sides, Tai Shanha raised his blade and told everyone to fight. Red Lady drew her thin sword. Over 200 people attacked at once, skills exploding like fireworks in every color. But those beasts barely got scratched. Their scales were too thick. The gray beasts roared, and the sound waves sent people flying, bleeding from every hole in their faces. The red beasts shot light beams from their throats that vaporized anyone they touched. People just disappeared. Taishana got hit by a tail swipe. His chest caved in. He tried to stand but couldn't. Red Lady managed to stab one beast in the eye, but it threw her off, and she slammed into a rock. Then a red beast bit down on her. Her scream was short, like a chicken getting its neck snapped. She was dead before she hit the ground. Tai Shanha watched it happen, still kneeling with a crushed chest. A gray beast walked up and stomped him flat. After that, everyone scattered, but there was nowhere to run. In less than 15 minutes, most of the 200 were dead, less than 50 still running. I didn't run. A gray beast charged me and stomped me into the ground. Didn't feel a thing. Not even a scratch. I just lay in the crater, stopped my breathing and heartbeat, and played dead. The beast checked me for 3 seconds, then left to chase someone else. I lay there listening to screams. One after another. Some close, some far. I felt nothing. These people meant nothing to me. I didn't even know their names. I just waited. Once they were all dead, I could collect their rings. After about 15 minutes, everything went quiet. The beasts left. The field was already empty, so there was nothing left to guard. I climbed out, dusted myself off. Not a scratch. The basin was covered in bodies. Blood flowing like little streams across the golden grass. I started looting. Taishana's black ring had 20 cyan spirit pills, for green ones, and a full set of level 139 eternal gear. Rich guy? Red lady's ring had 30 cyan pills, 3 green ones, and a nice runed sword. I went through every body, one by one. Final count, 2,300 cyan spirit pills and 300 green ones. All into soul storage. I was about to leave when I heard a tiny voice behind a rock. Sun Xiaoho crawled out, covered in other people's blood but completely unharmed. He'd played dead the whole time too. He said his fortune told him he'd die today, so he cast another one that said playing dead would save him. Then he looked at me with shaking hands and said he'd watched the beast stomp me, a level 140 creature, and I walked away without a mark. He asked who I really was. I told him to guess. He went pale, remembered his earlier fortune about me being surrounded by the dead, and said he didn't want to know. Then he turned and ran up the hill faster than I'd ever seen him move. Over the next 2 days I kept searching but had no more luck like that. No medicine fields, no palaces. Just scattered herbs here and there. I checked my soul storage and figured I had enough pill materials to last me all the way to level 150. The golden crack in the sky started closing. 1 minute left before the space shut down and everyone alive got sent back. I'd spent 3 days in there. My soul storage was packed. Herbs, spirit pills, enough resources to last me to level 150. Not bad at all. I stood up and shifted my appearance back. Brown hair turned silver white. Gray-blue eyes turned to golden vertical pupils. Face changed. Higher cheekbones, squarer jaw, taller by 3 centimeters. Back to my real self. Sheng Yuan. 9th Prince of Holy Light Star. Level 120. The golden light wrapped around me and pulled me upward. Back on Holy Light Star, a huge crowd was waiting at the teleportation array. Father stood at the front in his golden robe, watching. My mother consort Hua was at the edge of the crowd. She hadn't slept in 3 days. Zhongshu stood behind her saying I'd come back. She whispered that I'd promised her I would. What I didn't know then was that my eldest brother Xingtiance had been busy. 3 days ago he'd leaked my location to every Star Lord through some organization. Told them my level. Told them my holy light shield could be sealed. He wanted me dead. Sheng Lihua came out first, missing an arm, and told everyone I was probably dead. He and Sheng Tianqi had spent 3 days searching for me, but never found me. They'd heard about some mysterious person who could withstand 10,000 attackers alone, who killed hundreds with single punches. Out of 30,000 people who entered, over 20,000 died. Someone said they'd seen a silver-haired young man chased into a forest by beasts and never come out. The whole square went silent. Mother's face turned white as paper. Father didn't move, but I could imagine his fingers tightening inside his sleeves. 6th brother Sheng Tianwu dropped his axe. 8th brother Sheng Tianjiao tried to act sad, but his voice cracked too high. Tianwu noticed and called him out on it. Eldest brother stepped forward with his gentle smile and said maybe I was still alive somewhere in the space, just hadn't made it back in time. Always so caring, that one. But I was coming back. I just hadn't arrived yet. The golden crack in the sky closed. The light went out. Everyone on the square thought I was dead. 6th brother Tianwu was shouting that I never came out. 8th brother Tianjiao was standing in the back, biting his lip to hide a smile. So hard it bled. Eldest brother Tiance stood at the front with his usual gentle expression, but his eyes were dead. He was celebrating inside. He'd spent a fortune, 10,000 spirit pills, the ownerless domain organization, seal jade for all 10 Star Lords. All to make sure I died in there. And he thought it worked. Then the teleportation array lit up again. I walked out, covered in mud, hair a mess, but standing. Not a scratch. The whole square went dead silent. I walked past Sheng Lihua, asked him where his arm went, patted Sheng Tianqi on the shoulder, and told him it was good he was alive. He started crying from relief. I stood before Father and told him my story. The fake one. I said I ran into a level 140 beast right away, panicked, and activated the holy light shield immediately. Then I hid inside it for 3 days while the beast watched me. I told him I was sorry for wasting a spot and using up the shield for nothing. Father looked at me for a long time. Then he said I did the right thing. He'd always told me to save my life first, and I did exactly that. He said me being alive mattered more than anything else. Sixth brother's eyes went red. He said I made the right call. No treasure is worth dying for. Third brother nodded and said the same. Meanwhile, eldest brother was falling apart inside. He'd planned everything perfectly. Leaked my location, got every Star Lord to send assassins, bought sealed jade to block my shield. He accounted for every variable, except one, that his little brother would be a coward and activate the shield before anyone could seal it. All his scheming turned into a joke. When he walked away, his back was hunched over like he'd aged 10 years. Eighth brother stomped off, shaking with anger. He'd been happy for nothing. Mother walked up to me from the edge of the crowd. Her eyes were red, but she didn't cry. She just said it was good I came back. I told her I was sorry for worrying her. She smiled, and then the tears came. Nobody knew the truth. Nobody knew I'd changed my face, harvested an entire medicine field, looted 200 corpses, and walked away with enough resources to last me to level 150. They all thought I'd spent 3 days cowering behind a shield. And that was exactly what I wanted them to think. I watched eldest brother's back disappear around the corridor. Then I went straight to my chambers and told Zhongshu to turn everyone away, said I was tired and needed rest. The moment the door closed, I got to work. I connected my mind to all 999 clones and gave them the same order: start absorbing Cyan Spirit pills. Each clone takes 1 pill, 1 day to absorb it. That's 999 pills in a single day. 100 pills equals 1 level. So in 1 day, I jumped from level 120 all the way to 130. Then I pulled out the 8 trigrams furnace. The little dragon on the lid opened its golden eyes and asked what I wanted. I told him, yellow-grade spirit pills. He gave me a look. You're only level 120. Yellow-grade pills are for level 140. I'll be there soon enough. Start now. The recipe needed 8 ingredients instead of 3 for blue-grade. 8 different temperatures, 8 streams of mental energy controlling the fire at the same time. The order was strict. Fusion root first, then blood lingji, dragon blood vine, golden leaf grass, jade marrow fruit, ice heart lotus, gathering flower, and spirit grass last. First furnace, I managed all 8 steps. Kept the fire perfect for each ingredient. Gentle for some, roaring for others. All burning at once, separated by invisible walls of mental energy. The liquid turned deep red, then purple red, then hardened into 3 pills. Golden web patterns across the surface. 3 yellow-grade spirit pills on my first try. Then I failed 5 times in a row. Second furnace, vine residue ruined it. Third, fruit burned. Fourth, fifth, sixth, all wasted. The little dragon finally spoke up. He said my timing on the golden leaf grass was wrong. I should add it when the jade fruit splits into 8 pieces, not 6. Why didn't you tell me earlier? You didn't ask. After that fix, things got better. I stopped following the recipe rigidly and started feeling the fire, letting the medicine guide the temperature instead of forcing it. 7th furnace worked, then 8th, then 11th. Out of 11 total attempts, 7 succeeded. 18 yellow-grade spirit pills. I ran out of yellow-grade ingredients after that. I still had higher-tier materials I could trade down, but it was already dark outside. I'd send one of my clones to the herb shop tomorrow. For now, all 999 clones were still absorbing cyan pills. By tomorrow, they'd finish the batch, and I'd be 10 levels stronger. I woke up, and all 999 clones reported in at once. Every cyan pill absorbed. I checked my stats. Level 130. One night, 10 levels. Nobody would believe it even if I told them. I sent one of my clones to handle the herb shopping. He was on Star City, in a rented room. So he grabbed a earth-grade fruit from Soul Storage and headed to the medicine street. First stop was a tiny shop called 100 Herbs Hall. The old owner took one look at the fruit and dropped his porridge bowl. He said he'd only ever seen earth-grade material once in his life, through glass at the big store's window. He couldn't afford it. But he gave my clone useful advice. Spirit pills above purple grade, are controlled by the royal family and major clans. You can't buy them on the open market no matter how much money you have. The only option is trading materials for materials, then refining the pills yourself. So my clone went to Star City Pharmacy's main branch, the biggest shop on the east side. The manager's abacus froze mid-click when he saw the fruit. He opened at 500 sets of yellow-grade ingredients. Said earth-grade materials have no real market. Too few people can use them, so they'd sit in storage losing value. Classic pressure tactic. My clone pushed back. The fruit cost me nothing. I picked it up for free, so even 500 was pure profit. But why leave money on the table? He told the manager other shops could pool together to match the price. The manager's smile got thinner. I asked for 1,000. He said impossible. We went back and forth. He offered 700. I said 900. He said 800. I took it. The manager spent half an hour hauling out 800 sets of ingredients. 8,000 spirit grass stalks, 4,000 gathering flowers, 800 fusion roots, and 5 more types. A mountain of colorful herbs piled on the counter. My clone swept everything into soul storage, left the fruit, and walked out. Back on Holy Light Star, I was already planning the next round of refining. What I didn't know was that behind the scenes, the Star City Pharmacy's elder recognized my clone. He figured out it was Su Lin, my real identity from before I started pretending to be Sheng Yuan. He reported it to the Star City Star Lord through a communication stone. The Star Lord decided not to come after me. His logic was simple. I'd already died once and came back. I was unkillable, and I had a grudge against Holy Light Star. So the smart move was to stay friendly, let me grow stronger, and let me be their weapon against Holy Light Star. He told the elder to give me whatever I wanted next time and keep it between them. Back on Holy Light Star, I told Zhongshu I was going into closed-door training. 110 days. No visitors. First 10 days. All 999 clones absorbed green spirit pills. Each clone handled 1 pill. 10 days to absorb, 100 pills per level. That brought me from 130 to 140. At the same time, I refined all 800 sets of yellow-grade ingredients. My success rate kept climbing. 60 pills on day 1, 90 by day 10. 800 sets turned into 1,200 yellow-grade spirit pills. I only needed 1,000, so I had 200 extra. Then the real grind started. Yellow-grade pills each take 100 days to absorb with divine talent. 1 pill gives 1 billion spirit power. 1,000 pills for 10 levels. Without clones, that's 270 years. With 999 clones plus me, 100 days. The pills hit like lava in my veins. I sat in my room and didn't move for 100 days straight. Zhongshu turned everyone away. 6th brother wanting to drink, people wanting to chat. I just sat there while numbers scrolled through my head. Plus 100,000 over and over. On day 110, the last pill finished absorbing. Level 150. 100 times stronger than level 140. My blood and attack stats were in the billions of Jing now. I figured if I could reach 160 with top equipment, nobody below level 200 could even hurt me. I opened my door for the first time in over 3 months. The hallway smelled like osmanthus. Zhongshu was standing there holding clean clothes like a statue. He told me things had changed while I was away. Eldest brother Sheng Tians had been sent to guard the northern frontier, a frozen wasteland where nothing lived. The Star Lord called it training, but everyone at court knew it was punishment. Father had found out about Tian's scheme to have me killed in the medicine field space. Trying to murder your own brother with borrowed knives. No ruler would let that slide. He was clearing the path for me. Eldest brother getting sent to the northern frontier didn't surprise me at all. He tried to have his own brother killed. No ruler would let that slide. Father not executing him was already merciful. Zhongshu also told me 8th brother hit level 103 and was bragging about catching up to me. I laughed. Catching up? He had no hope in this lifetime. My real problem now was resources. At level 150, I needed orange-grade spirit pills, and I had 0. I couldn't ask Father. No way to explain how I jumped 30 levels in 100 days. I had to figure this out myself. I sent my clone on Star City to handle it. He had 200 leftover yellow-grade pills and some materials, but that probably wouldn't trade for much orange-grade stuff. I needed steady income, not one-time deals. So my clone went job hunting. He picked a mid-tier family in the South District, the Chin family. Not too big, not too small. Big families have too many rules and too many eyes. A medium family would need a pill refiner badly and couldn't threaten me. He walked up to the Chin front gate, showed the guards a yellow-grade spirit pill, and said he was looking for work. They nearly fell over. Within minutes, the family head Chin Tianshou was sitting across from him in the guest hall. My clone laid out the deal. They provide materials, I refine pills, we split 60-40. They keep 60% of the finished pills, I keep 40. Chin Tianshou tried for 70-30. I didn't budge. He did the math in his head, 6 out of 10 batches succeeding, 36 pills from 100 sets of materials, and his heart rate picked up. He agreed. What he didn't know was my real success rate. With my heaven-grade furnace and techniques, I could pull about 120 pills from 100 sets, not 60. So my 40% would actually be around 80 pills per 100 sets. The extra output was my edge, and nobody needed to know about it. The family head's daughter, Chin Jinshu, sat in the corner the whole time watching me without saying a word. Level 135. Knew some alchemy herself. Blue grade. When I was leaving, she asked if my name was really Lin Lin. Smart woman. She also noticed the little dragon on my furnace lid had living eyes. She told the butler afterward that my furnace was at least orange grade. She didn't trust me, but the Chun family needed a yellow grade refiner, and that was that. After shaking the tail they sent after me, I started planning. 100 sets of materials would net me about 80 yellow grade pills to keep. The question was how many of those I'd need to trade for one set of orange grade ingredients. I'd have to visit that pharmacy again to check prices. Once I knew the exchange rate, I could calculate exactly how long until I had enough orange grade materials to keep leveling up. I sent my clone to check prices on orange grade ingredients. First stop was Old Chun at 100 Herbs Hall. He told me one set of orange grade spirit pill materials costs about 500 yellow grade spirit pills on the regular market. But then he dropped the bad news. Shops can't buy or sell spirit pills, only raw materials. If I wanted to trade pills for ingredients, I'd have to go to the black market. City North, underground. Opens on the 15th of every month. No names, no questions. That was 2 days away. Meanwhile, I had work to do at the Chin family. 100 sets of yellow-grade materials were waiting in the pill room, stacked neat and tidy. I kicked everyone out, pulled out my 8 trigrams furnace, and got started. Refined from morning to night. 8 cold food left at the door. Took a day and a half to finish all 100 sets. I told Chin Tianshou I'd succeeded on 61 batches with 61 pills. The real number was 121 pills from 63 successful batches. My heaven-grade furnace lets me pull 2 or 3 pills per batch instead of 1. I gave them their 36 pills and kept 85 for myself. Chin Jinshu asked me to teach her alchemy. I said no. She offered to let me name my price. I still said no. She was persistent, but I wasn't here to take students. I was here to make pills and get paid. On the 15th, I went to the black market. 10 cyan pills for the door fee. Down 200 steps into a massive underground cavern. Glowing crystals in the walls. Thousands of masked people. The whole place buzzing like a hive. Bad news hit fast. Orange-grade ingredients cost 600 yellow-grade pills per set down here, not 500 like the surface. I checked multiple stalls, same price everywhere. One vendor in a smiling wooden mask said he had unlimited supply. As much as I wanted, whenever I wanted. I had 285 yellow-grade pills. Couldn't even afford one set. I told him I'd be back when I had the money, and kept walking through the market to see what else was down there. I was wandering the black market with no money when I heard a crowd going wild. A fighting pit, deep hole in the ground, stone seats around it, blood-stained gravel at the bottom. 2 fighters were about to go at it. Iron Bear, a mountain of muscle with 7 straight wins, versus Ghost Hand, a skinny newcomer. The odds were 3-1 on Ghost Hand. I watched them both carefully. Iron Bear was powerful, but slow. Ghost Hand moved like a snake, slippery, patient. I saw how it would end. I bet everything. 285 yellow-grade pills on Ghost Hand. Iron Bear charged like a truck, throwing punches that cracked the ground. Ghost Hand just slid around every swing like smoke. After 2 minutes, Iron Bear was gasping. Ghost Hand found his opening, jabbed 5 fingers into the back of Iron Bear's neck like nails. Iron Bear froze. Then Ghost Hand put his hand through Iron Bear's chest. Fight over. I collected my winnings. 855 pills. Triple what I started with. Then I had an idea. Why just bet when I could fight? I asked the organizer if I could enter the ring. He told me the only opponent in the 150 bracket was Iron Mountain. Level 155, 18 straight wins, every opponent dead before they could surrender. Half a year without a challenger. I said set it up. The odds came out 1-5 against me. 5 levels lower. Unknown fighter against an unbeaten killer. Nobody gave me a chance. So I bet all 855 pills on myself. If I won, that's 4,275 pills. If I lost, I'd be dead anyway. What would I need pills for? Up in the VIP room carved into the pit wall, some royals from Star City were watching. The 8th princess, Chun Xingyue, noticed something the others missed. She pointed out that I wasn't nervous at all, not faking calm, but genuinely relaxed, like my body was rooted to the ground. She found out about my bets too. First Ghost Hand, then myself with everything. She told the others I was either crazy or absolutely certain I'd win. Down in the pit, Iron Mountain stood across from me. 2 meters tall, bare-chested, a tiger tattooed on a mountain on his chest. He looked down at me like I was dinner. Up in the VIP room, the Star City royals were watching me. The 8th princess bet 1,000 pills on me, her entire savings. The 7th princess bet 5,000. Their eldest brother, the 1st prince, had bet 20,000 on Iron Mountain. Their 9th brother bet 3,000 on Iron Mountain too. The fight started. Iron Mountain charged at me like a moving wall, fists the size of cooking pots. I didn't move much, just shifted half a step each time. His fists passed right by me, never touching, not even brushing my clothes. I already knew where every punch was going before he threw it. He threw everything he had for 2 solid minutes. Didn't land once. The crowd of 3,000 went dead silent. Up in the VIP room, the 9th prince dropped his wine glass. Iron Mountain stopped, gasping, hands on his knees. I hadn't broken a sweat. I'd had enough fun. I threw one punch. Hit him square in the chest. His ribcage caved in like a bowl pressed into his skin. The mountain tattoo split down the middle. He dropped to his knees, then fell face first into the gravel. Dead. One punch. That's all it took. I pulled the ring off his finger, wiped it on my shirt, and went to collect my winnings. 5,275 yellow-grade pills, 4,275 from the bet, plus 1,000 as the fight prize. Enough for almost 9 sets of orange-grade materials. Then things went sideways. The VIP room door got kicked open by someone from the inner guard, the Star Lord's personal force. He ordered the princes and princesses to leave immediately. Something big was happening. The 8th princess glanced back at the pit and asked if I'd survive what was coming. She said the inner guard showing up meant everyone in the black market was about to die. The 7th princess said it was their father's decision and they couldn't interfere. Minutes later, the exits got sealed. People in black armor surrounded the entire underground space. Thousands of people started panicking, pushing toward the exits, screaming. The doors were blocked. I leaned against a pillar and watched the chaos. This didn't make sense. The black market had been running for years. The authorities never touched it because whoever ran it had powerful backing. Something had changed. People were calling for the master, the person behind the black market, but nobody knew where he was. I stood there thinking, whatever was about to happen, I needed to figure out my next move. The black market master showed up. Nearly 2 meters tall, black robes, level 195 at least. His presence alone made it hard to breathe. 3,000 people dropped to their knees. I didn't. The inner guard had sealed the exits on the Star Lord's orders. The master walked to the door, said, "Move," and when the leader refused, he slapped him in the chest. The man flew 50 meters and died. The rest of the guards ran. The master told everyone to carry on as normal, then disappeared into the darkness at the back of the market. I headed for the exit. 3 guys followed me: Bull Mask, Skull Mask, Smiley Mask. Levels 165, 163, and 161. They cornered me in a dead-end alley and told me to hand over my pills. I told them to come at me together to save time. Bull Mask charged first. I punched his fist and shattered it, then hit him in the chest so hard he flew backward into the other 2. All 3 slammed into the wall. Wall cracked. None of them got up. I pulled their rings off and left. Back at the rented room, I went through everything. Iron Mountain's ring had 300 yellow-grade pills and 5 orange-grade spirit pills, the first orange pills I'd ever gotten. The 3 robbers had even more, 2,100 yellow-grade and 23 orange-grade pills between them. One of them was carrying a Chun family token, which was interesting. Total haul from the night. Over 7,600 yellow-grade pills from fighting and betting, plus 28 orange pills. Enough yellow pills to buy 12 sets of orange-grade ingredients. But orange pills take 1,000 days each to absorb, and I need 1,000 of them to reach level 160. Long road ahead. I set 28 clones to start absorbing the orange pills and went to sleep. Next morning, Chunbo found me buying breakfast and said the Chun family was hosting the annual alchemy competition. Every major family sends their best pill refiner. They compete on quality and success rate. First prize, 10 orange-grade spirit pills. I said I'd go. Chunbo picked me up in the morning for the annual alchemy competition. 8 families, each sending their best pill refiner. First prize, 10 orange-grade spirit pills. I needed those. At the Chun estate, things got interesting fast. Chun Xingyue, the 8th princess from last night's black market, was there. Chun Jinshu had told her about my success rate, and the moment she saw me, she knew I was the same person from the fighting pit. Said my aura was identical. I denied it. She didn't buy it. She tried to give me 1,000 yellow-grade pills, her cut from betting on me last night. I told her I didn't need them. She stared at me for 3 seconds, probably thinking a level 150 wanderer who says he doesn't need pills is either lying or not what he seems. She let it go. Then some guy named Chun Xingyao from the Chun family's branch came over, their so-called alchemy genius. 40 years of refining and barely hitting 50% success rate. He heard about my 60% and came to look down his nose at me. I wasn't in the mood for his attitude. When the competition started, every refiner pulled out their own furnace. Chun Xingyao had an orange grade one with a chilin on the lid. Others had yellow grade, green grade, all showing off. Everyone expected me to pull out my furnace too. I didn't. My 8 trigrams furnace is heaven grade. If I brought that out, every person in this courtyard who knew anything about alchemy would lose their minds. So I pointed at the cheap purple grade bronze furnace the Chun family had set on my table and said I'd use that one. The whole courtyard went quiet. Then the whispering started. Using a purple grade furnace for yellow grade pills? That's suicide. Chun Xingyao laughed and asked if I was disrespecting everyone present. I looked at him. Just you. His face cycled through 3 colors. His handler had to pull him back to his station. Chun Xingyue sat watching from the side, grinning. Chun Jinshu looked worried and asked if I was really going to use that furnace. I told her the furnace is dead, the person is alive. The rules were simple. 10 sets of materials, 3 hours. Whoever produces the most pills wins. 8 refiners stood at 8 stations. I cracked my knuckles and got to work. The competition started. 8 refiners, 8 furnaces, 8 piles of ingredients. Everyone pulled out their own furnaces. Chun Xingyao had his orange grade one with the chilin, others had yellow and green grade. I stuck with the cheap purple grade bronze furnace on the table. While everyone else was sweating through their 3rd ingredient, I was already handling all 8 at once. The difference was my technique. They used mental energy to control the fire, splitting it into 3 or 4 streams, each one getting weaker. Chun Xingyao could manage 4 streams and was already shaking. Li Chunfeng forced 3 and his fire wobbled. Wang Suxin tapped her furnace wall like playing piano, fast but limited. Old Sima was so slow people worried he'd run out of time. I didn't use mental energy at all. I controlled the fire with my heart, heaven-grade technique. The fire just obeyed. I wanted it bigger, it got bigger. Smaller, it got smaller. Like breathing. No effort. 8 ingredients, 8 different temperatures, all running at the same time, perfectly stable. Chun Jinshu noticed. She was a blue-grade refiner and recognized what I was doing, heart-controlled fire. She'd only read about it in ancient texts. Her hands started shaking. About 15 minutes in, the smell of nearly finished pills drifted across the courtyard. Every experienced refiner in the place froze. Impossible. Yellow-grade pills take at least half an hour minimum. Chun Xingyao was still on his 4th ingredient. He sniffed the air and couldn't believe it. Chun Xingyue sat in the corner with her water cup, grinning. Interesting, she whispered. Chun Xingyao had already ruined his first batch. He put the golden leaf grass in when the jade fruit had only split 7 pieces instead of 8. The sequence was wrong. His pill was dead before it finished. He knew it. Everyone watching knew it. I opened my furnace lid. The smell hit the whole courtyard like a wave. Clear, pure, rich. I reached in with tweezers and pulled out the pills. Purple-red, thumb-sized, covered in fine golden web patterns, glowing in the sunlight. The entire courtyard went silent. I'd finished my first batch before anyone else had even gotten halfway through theirs. The competition wasn't even close. I finished my first pill in 15 minutes. The whole courtyard lost its mind. Everyone else was still struggling with their third or fourth ingredient, and I'd already pulled a finished pill out of the furnace. The smell hit every corner of the yard, clear, pure, rich. Nobody could deny it. Chen Xingyao cracked first. His hands started shaking after seeing me succeed so fast. His second batch exploded. Then his third. Then his fourth. 4 straight failures, black smoke and burnt residue every time. He screamed at me across the courtyard asking how I dared finish in 15 minutes when he'd spent 40 years refining. I looked at him and said, "You tell me." The 8th princess walked over and gave him 10 orange pills from her own pocket, told him to go home and rest. He left looking like he'd aged 10 years. The others held together better, but couldn't keep up. Li Chunfeng was solid. His iron furnace carried him, but his mental energy was fading. He managed 5 pills from 10 sets. Wang Suxin's finger-tapping technique gave out halfway through. Her hands got too slow, and she started losing batches. For pills, old Sima watched me pull my first pill, sighed, and quit after 3 sets. Said there was no point competing against something he couldn't beat. I used the cheap purple-grade furnace the whole time. No mental energy, no hand movements. Just heart-fire control. 8 ingredients, 8 temperatures, all at once. The furnace was weak, could only produce 1 pill per batch instead of the 2 or 3 my own furnace manages. But 1 pill per batch with a 60% success rate was still more than anyone else could do. I deliberately failed my 10th batch to keep the number at 6 out of 10. 60% was already shocking enough. If I'd shown 70%, it would have raised too many questions. Final results. I took first place with 6 pills. Li Chunfeng second with 5. Wang Suxin third with 4. Everyone else was lower. First prize, 10 orange-grade spirit pills. Exactly what I came for. After the results were announced, the trouble started. Li Chunfeng and Wang Suxin confronted me, asking how I controlled fire without using mental energy. Then an old man walked in. Chen Bo, a red-grade alchemist from the Chen family's top clan, the one who'd refined pills for over 1,000 years. Level 184. He asked me directly if I was using heaven-grade fire control. The courtyard exploded with chatter. Then Li Mao, the Li family's steward, stood up and declared that heaven-grade fire control was the heritage of the entire Star region and should be made public. Others joined in, demanding I share it. I shut that down fast. I asked Li Mao what the Li family's secret technique was called. He said the Greenwood method, Emperor grade. I told him to make it public first since it was also ancient heritage. He went red and stopped talking. I looked around the courtyard and asked if anyone else wanted to share their family's secrets for the good of all. Dead silence. Then Chen Bo dropped the pretense. He released his aura, level 184 pressure that made half the courtyard collapse to their knees. I didn't move. He said I wasn't leaving without handing over the technique. Chen Tianshou stepped between us, saying I was his guest, and he'd protect me even against the Chen clan. Chen Bo threatened to destroy the entire Chen family. Then Xingyue, the 8th princess, stepped forward and called me her friend. Chen Bo backed off slightly since she was the Star Lord's favorite daughter, but said he'd go through her if needed. Before it escalated further, I spoke up. I told him stealing from a wanderer would ruin the Chen clan's reputation. Better to buy it and call it a fair deal. He asked my price. I said 10,000 orange grade and 10,000 red grade spirit pills. He nearly choked. He countered with 50 red grade and 2,000 orange grade. I said deal. He was shocked I didn't haggle. But I'd already learned the technique. Selling a copy cost me nothing. 50 red grade pills and 2,000 orange grade pills for something I could write from memory? That was pure profit. We signed a heavenly contract. Break it, and divine lightning strikes you down. He put the pills on the table. I swept them into soul storage. Then I handed him the book. His hands trembled when his mental energy touched the pages. He stood there frozen, absorbing everything. When he opened his eyes, he tucked the book away, said, "Until we meet again," and practically ran out the door. Didn't even try to maintain his dignified elder act. After the deal with Chen Bo, I gave Chen Tianshou 1,000 orange-grade spirit pills as thanks for standing up for me. He'd risked his entire family against the Chen clan. That deserved payment. Xingyue asked what she got for defending me. I told her I owed her a favor. She made me shake on it. Her hand was cold and soft. Then the 7th princess, Chen Xinyao, walked up and said her father wanted to see me. Right now? I figured if the Star Lord wanted me dead, he'd have sent soldiers, not his daughter. So I went. The palace was massive. Gold doors 10 meters high, guards everywhere. The princesses led me to a small study lined with books. The Star Lord, Chun Tianxing, was waiting by the window. Tall, black robes, deep gray eyes like frozen lakes. He sat down across from me and said one sentence that made my heart skip. Your name should be Su Lin, not a question. A statement. He laid it all out. The medicine field. Someone killed Chun Tianxing with one punch, then the next day traded earth-grade materials at his pharmacy. The black market. Someone beat Iron Mountain with one punch. A level 150 fighter doing things even Holy Light Star's divine talent prince couldn't do. He said there was only one person in the universe who fit that profile. I asked what he planned to do about it. He pushed a box across the table. 500 red-grade spirit pills. An apology. 2 years ago, Star City had joined the hunt against me. He admitted it, said he was sorry, and wanted to wipe the slate clean. No more grudges. I thought about it. My real enemy was Holy Light Star. I didn't need to fight every planet, so I took the pills and agreed. Then he offered me the position of Royal Alchemist, but his terms were insane. No required tasks, unlimited materials, no penalty for failures, and I only had to give half of whatever I successfully refined. He wasn't hiring me. He was investing in me. He explained his thinking plainly. I was young, already terrifyingly strong, had heaven-grade techniques, and was literally unkillable. He said befriending me now was smarter than fighting me later. He wanted to know how far I'd go in 10 years, 50 years, 100. Smart man. I said yes. Meanwhile, I ordered all my clones to start absorbing orange-grade pills. 1,000 pills, 1,000 days. When that finished, I'd hit level 160, and at that point, even the Star Lord at level 199 couldn't hurt me. On the way out, Xingyue tagged along asking where I lived, what color clothes I wanted, when she could visit. I told her to bring materials if she wanted to find me. She looked offended until I said I was joking. The 7th princess gave me her personal palace token, a black badge with the Qin character. Free access anywhere in the palace. Xingyue's eyes went wide. Apparently her sister never gave anyone anything. She told me the 7th princess was cold to everyone, but had made an exception for me. I didn't respond to that. I just pocketed the token and left. I left the palace and went back to my rented room to start closed-door training. I told Xingyue I'd be gone about 3 years. She pouted and left with her snack box. What I didn't know was everything happening outside while I sat there absorbing pills. The Star Lord called his daughter in after I left. He ordered his elite guards to protect me in secret. He figured the news about heaven-grade fire control would spread fast, and people would come looking for trouble. He also admitted his real plan: pile up favors on me until I owed too much to ever walk away. Smart and honest about it, at least. When his daughter asked if she had feelings for me, she said no, that I was beyond her world, that my future wouldn't stay on a second-tier planet. The Star Lord agreed. He sat alone in his study wondering just how far I'd go. The news spread like wildfire. Day 1. Herb prices on Medicine Street jumped 30% from panic buying, then crashed when people realized nothing had changed yet. Day 10. The Chen family's front door literally broke from all the visitors. Alchemists, merchants, families offering their daughters. Chen Jinshu stood at the gate repeating, "He's not here," until her voice gave out. She told Chun Bo she didn't think I'd ever come back. She was right that I didn't need their materials anymore. Day 20. 5 Earth-grade alchemists announced they were coming out of seclusion. For alchemists, heaven-grade fire control wasn't just a technique. It was the answer to the question they'd spent their entire lives asking. Many had hit the ceiling at red grade, not because of talent or materials, but because their fire control topped out. Now someone had broken through that wall. Day 25. Every teleportation array to Star City was packed. Alchemists of every grade were flooding in. Not sightseers. Pilgrims. Day 30. All 5 Earth-grade alchemists arrived simultaneously. White Emperor, dressed in pure white, eyes like ancient wells. Black Flame, short-tempered, hair standing straight up, eyes like knife edges. Qing Xian, the only woman, quiet and mysterious, brewed the purest pills of the five. Dan Shinzi, short, fat, covered in grease stains, looked like a cook, but even White Emperor respected his skill. And Gold Cauldron, born on Star City, 2 meters tall in golden robes like a lion. 5 people who controlled the entire second-tier star region's Earth-grade pill supply. Any one of them outranked most Star Lords. The Star Lord himself greeted them with bowing hands. White Emperor said one word about what they wanted me. The Star Lord told them I was in closed-door training. White Emperor shrugged. Don't disturb him. We'll wait. We've lived tens of thousands of years. We have patience. So 5 of the most powerful alchemists in the Star region moved into the palace to wait for me to come out. And I sat in my little rented room, eyes closed, absorbing pills, with no idea any of this was happening. 3 years. I sat in that tiny rented room for 3 years straight. Eyes closed, absorbing pills. Every clone. All 2,500 of them now, since I'd split off another 1,500 during training, working on the same thing. 1 orange-grade pill each, 1,000 days to absorb. When I opened my eyes, the panel read level 160, 100 times stronger than 150. My blood and attack stats had jumped to billions of ing. And my 2 special abilities were showing again. One boosting my health by 1 billion times, the other making every attack carry 1% of my maximum health as bonus damage. At this level, with full equipment, nobody under 200 could hurt me. The Star Lord himself at 199 couldn't scratch me. I was untouchable on any second-tier planet. My bones cracked when I stood up. 3 years of barely moving. I pushed open the window, and the sunlight nearly blinded me. Fresh air rushed in. I took a deep breath and said to myself, time to go outside. I opened the door, and 2 guards were standing there. They nearly jumped out of their skin. I had no idea what had happened while I was gone. Turns out, the whole world had changed. Star City had exploded in size. The teleportation plaza got rebuilt 3 times and was still overcrowded. Medicine Street rents went up 50 times. Over 50 red-grade alchemists had moved to the city permanently. Half the alchemy trade in the entire Star region had shifted from the Pill Domain to Star City. The planet's status had surpassed even Holy Light Star. All because of me. Or rather, because of the news that someone had mastered heaven-grade fire control. And the 5 Earth-grade alchemists, the most powerful pill refiners in the entire second-tier Star region, had arrived 30 days after I went into seclusion. White Emperor, Black Flame, Qing Xian, Dan Shinzi, and Gold Cauldron. Any one of them outranked most Star Lords. They'd moved into the palace and waited. 3 years. They'd spent that time studying the heaven-grade fire control manual I'd sold to Chun Bo, passing it between them, discussing it endlessly. Not one of them could figure it out. They couldn't stop their mental energy from activating. It was like breathing to them after tens of thousands of years. The technique said to forget mental energy and control fire with pure heart. They couldn't do it. The princesses had waited too. Xingyue stood on the palace balcony wondering what I was doing in there. Chen Jinshu had given up hope I'd ever come back to the Qin family. Within half an hour of me stepping outside, the entire city knew. People started running toward my neighborhood from every direction. Alchemists, merchants, family representatives, shoes falling off, nobody stopping to pick them up. And in the palace's west courtyard, 5 ancient figures who'd lived tens of thousands of years stood up simultaneously. White Emperor said one word. Go. By the time I stepped into the alley, it was already packed. 3 layers of people deep, wall to wall. All here for me. 3 years passed while I sat in that tiny rental room, eyes closed, barely moving. I was refining an orange-grade divine power pill. 1 pill takes 1,000 days to absorb, almost exactly 3 years. During that time, I also split off over 1,500 new clones. Now I have 2,500 bodies total, counting myself. Outside, the whole Star City changed without me. The teleportation plaza got expanded 3 times and still couldn't handle the crowds. Alchemists flooded in from everywhere. Over 50 red-grade alchemists now live here permanently, when the entire second-level Star region only has 100. Shop rents on Herb Street shot up 50 times. People joke that if you throw a rock in Star City, 9 out of 10 people you hit are alchemists. It's not really a joke anymore. Star City has overtaken Holy Light Star as the most important planet around. Meanwhile, 5 Earth-grade alchemists moved into the palace and spent all 3 years trying to learn the heaven-grade fire control technique, the one I sold to Uncle Chun. They read it millions of times, discussed it together, and still couldn't figure it out. The key idea is, heart and fire are one. Forget your spirit sense. But these old masters have used spirit sense for 80,000 years. Forgetting it is like forgetting how to breathe. When I finally opened my eyes, my stats had changed. Level 160, 100 times stronger than level 150. My blood volume, my attack power, everything jumped massively. I stood up and my bones cracked. I'd barely moved in 3 years, just eating food from my soul storage when I got hungry. My body was stiff. I stretched my neck, shook out my arms, and pushed the window open. Sunlight hit my face, and I squinted. Fresh air rushed in, smelling like plants. 3 years, I said to myself. Time to go out. I opened the door. 2 guards standing outside spun around and stared at me, eyes wide. Mr. Lin, who are you? I said. The news spread faster than wind. In less than half an hour, the whole city knew I was out. People started running toward my place. Alchemists, herb merchants, pill traders, representatives from big families, all of them pouring into the south side streets. The alley outside was packed, layer after layer of people, so thick you couldn't squeeze through. Back at the palace, the 5 Earth-grade alchemists all stood up the moment they heard. White Emperor opened his eyes. Black Flame put away his fan. They didn't say a word to each other. White Emperor just said, "Let's go," and they headed straight for me. I walked out of that alley, and the crowd parted for me like water. Thousands of eyes, all staring. Someone whispered, "That's Lin Lin? He looks so young." Nobody answered. They didn't need to. Chen Xingyue pushed through the crowd in a yellow dress, her ponytail swinging. 3 years had sharpened her face a little, but her eyes were still bright. "You finally came out," she said, looking up at me. There was complaint in her voice, but she was smiling. "I thought you died in there. Not dead. Just a bit stuffy." She laughed and told me her father wanted to see me, along with a lot of other people. She led me to the palace. The gates were wide open, like they'd been waiting. When I walked in, I stopped. The entire plaza was packed, tens of thousands of people, stretching so far I couldn't see the end. Every face pointed at me. Chen Tianxing stood on a raised platform in black robes, all the planet's top officials behind him. On both sides stood over 1,000 alchemists. The lowest rank among them was green grade. They'd come like pilgrims, just to see the person who mastered heaven-grade alchemy. In front of them all stood the 5 Earth-grade alchemists, White Emperor, Black Flame, Qing Xian, Dan Shinzi, and Gold Cauldron. I walked through the crowd and up onto the platform. An old red-grade alchemist stopped me on the way. Snow-white hair, sunken eyes, gaunt face. He said he'd been refining pills for 8,000 years and would never reach Earth-grade. He'd traveled here 3 years ago just to see what I looked like. "No regrets now?" he said. "No regrets." I nodded and kept walking. Chen Tianxing announced my name to the crowd, called it a day of celebration. The plaza erupted, tens of thousands of people chanting, "Lin Lin," over and over, like a tidal wave of sound. I stood up there with no expression, but my fingers moved inside my sleeve. I wasn't indifferent. I just wasn't used to carrying in front of this many people. Then Chen Tianxing sent me to a side hall with the 5 Earth-grade alchemists. The doors closed and shut out all the noise. White Emperor put a small wooden box on the table and pushed it toward me. I opened it. 50 pills inside. Earth-grade divine power pills, 10 from each of them. Deep red with silver-white web-like patterns, glowing like hot coals. "This is tuition," White Emperor said. "1 day's tuition," Black Flame explained. They wanted me to teach them the heaven-grade fire control technique. 1 day of teaching, 10 Earth-grade pills per person. "What if I can't teach it?" I asked. "You mastered it. You can teach it. Whether we learn it, that's on us." I looked at all 5 of them. Different expressions, different personalities, but the same thing burning in every pair of eyes, hunger to learn. I put the box in my soul storage. "Fine, I'll teach." I walked to the center of the hall, crouched down, and drew a circle on the polished black stone floor. Heaven-grade fire control, 4 words at its core. Heart and fire are one. They gathered around, looking down. "Right now you control fire with spirit sense," I said, drawing a line beside the circle. "Spirit sense leaves your body, touches fire, fire burns. That's the external path. Fire is fire, you are you. There's a layer between, Black Flame frowned. We tried using the heart, but we can't channel any force from it. I didn't answer. I held up my palm. Fire appeared. No technique, no spirit sense leaving my body. It just burned because I wanted it to. All 5 of them leaned forward. White Emperor's eyes narrowed. He could tell there was no external force at all. The fire simply existed because I willed it. I think it, and it burns, I said. No external force needed. The hall went silent. Black Flame's mouth hung open. 80,000 years of using spirit sense to control fire, and now he'd just watched someone skip all of it with a thought. White Emperor tried it himself, held out his palm, and fire appeared. It looked identical to mine, but he knew the difference. His fire was lit by spirit sense. Mine was lit by my heart. He turned to me. How do we achieve heart-fire unity? I crouched down again and wrote 2 characters on the stone, heart and fire, with an equal sign between them. Heart is fire. Fire is heart. At that same moment, far away on Holy Light Star, the palace bells began to ring. The palace bells on Holy Light Star wouldn't stop ringing, wave after wave, shaking the whole building. Uncle Zhong came to my door, sweating, carrying a dark gold robe. The Supreme Elder has come out of seclusion, he said. The Supreme Elder, my grandfather in this identity, the previous Star Lord, at least level 199. He'd been in closed cultivation for 30,000 years, trying to break through to level 200. Everyone was summoned to the Grand Temple immediately. Every royal family member, every official, every clan leader, tens of thousands of people packed the plaza, and nobody dared speak. The radiant Holy Emperor, my father, knelt before the old man. He was sitting beneath a 10-meter gold statue, hair white as snow dragging on the ground, skin like dried orange peel. His eyes were closed, but the air in the entire hall was trembling just from him being there. Walking in felt like someone had a hand on my shoulder, not heavy, but you knew it could push you through the floor any time it wanted. I noticed Sheng Tiance was back from the northern frontier. 3 years had made him thinner, darker, sharper. He nodded at me. Ninth brother, I nodded back. Sheng Tianjiao was at the back of the line. He'd gone from level 100 to 110 in 3 years. Compared to my level 160, he was crawling. He stared at my back with his mouth turned down. Then the old man opened his eyes. Silver white. No pupils, no whites, just solid silver, like moonlight burning. He'd failed to break through to 200. But that wasn't what worried me. His ability was eye technique. He could scan people down to their souls. I remembered that now, and my fingers tightened inside my sleeve. If he could see through me like the ancestor statue had, I'd need to decide fast. Bluff or come clean. His gaze swept across every person in the hall, checking each one briefly. When he reached me, he stopped. The scanning force hit me again, harder this time. From my head to my feet, from my skin to my bones, from my bones to my soul. His eyes narrowed. Who are you? He said. The hall went dead silent. The radiant Holy Emperor's face changed color. Supreme Elder, this is Sheng Yuan, my 9th son. The old man didn't look at him. I'm asking him. He stood up, and the pressure in the hall exploded. It was like a mountain falling from the sky. The weaker people dropped to their knees instantly. Sheng Tianjiao collapsed, white-faced and shaking. Sheng Tianwu gritted his teeth and barely stayed standing, knees bending, bones cracking. Sheng Tiance stood the steadiest, pale but not trembling. The old man walked up to me, half a head taller. Those silver eyes looked down like 2 bottomless wells. Your body carries Holy Light Star blood, he said. But your soul is not from Holy Light Star. The hall erupted. People shouted. Impossible. He passed the blood verification stone. You must be mistaken. The old man ignored all of it. Tell me, who are you? I am Sheng Yuan, I said. You are not. Then who does the Supreme Elder think I am? He placed his hand on top of my head. Ice-cold energy poured down through my spine. He was using his eye technique to dig through my soul, turning it over and over like someone searching through drawers. I didn't resist. I wasn't afraid of him. I just wanted to see how far he could get. He pulled his hand back. His face showed shock. Your soul is protected by something, he said. I've lived a very long time. I've never seen anything like it. I said nothing. He tried again, deeper this time. I could feel the force pushing through my soul, but it couldn't reach the bottom. Something thin, like a membrane, blocked it. His eye technique couldn't pierce through. He withdrew his hand again, even paler now. I don't know what that is. But I know it's not from the ancestor. I've sensed the ancestor's energy before. Whatever is in your soul has none of it. It's like a blank stone. He paused. But your body does carry a curse from the ancestor. The ancestor discovered what you are, didn't he? His voice dropped lower. Tell me, who are you really? I looked at him. It seemed like my cover was about to fall apart. I tried one more bluff. Maybe the ancestor did something to my soul when I cleared the 9th floor of the trial tower. He said he wanted to give me something. What the Supreme Elder is seeing might be that. He stared at me for a long time. You're lying. The Supreme Elder doesn't have to believe me. He went quiet. Then he said, that thing in your soul has no trace of the ancestor's energy. Nothing at all. And your body has been cursed by the ancestor. He found out about you. I looked back at those silver eyes. It was getting very hard to keep pretending. The hall went dead silent. Everyone staring at me. The Supreme Elder's silver eyes cutting into me like knives. I looked at those eyes for 3 seconds. Then I smiled. Fine. No more pretending. I pulled my hands out of my sleeves and stretched my fingers. I'm not Xingyuan. The hall exploded with noise. People shouting, gasping. The radiant Holy Emperor's face went white as paper. He stepped forward. What did you say? I said I'm not your son. His hands started shaking. Then where is Xingyuan? Dead. I killed him. The hall erupted again. His eyes turned red. Who are you? I looked at him and said it word by word. I am Su Lin. Dead silence. Like someone grabbed every person in the room by the throat. Su Lin. The guy who turned Origin Star into his personal playground. The one who escaped 10 level, 190 attackers twice. The one who cleared the world creation domain. The one who killed over 1,000 magic lizards, one-shot a level, 128 boss, and survived 80 trillion self-destruction damage. The guy who died and came back. Now standing right here in the Grand Temple of Holy Light Star. Sheng Tianwu's voice cracked. 9th brother. No, Su Lin. Sheng Tianjiao was at the back, legs gone soft, fingers digging into a wooden pillar so hard he carved grooves in it. His face drained of all color. Sheng Tian's polite smile finally disappeared. In its place was sudden understanding, like the last piece of a puzzle dropping into place. Why? Xingyuan awakened a god-level talent. Why he jumped 10 levels in 9 days. Why he learned blood explosion in a single day. Because he was never Xingyuan. He was me. The radiant Holy Emperor stared at me. You killed my son. You pretended to be him for 3 years. That's right. You took our resources. Learned our techniques. Took our inheritance. Correct. Anything else to say? I thought about it. Not really. 3 years ago, I needed your resources and your awakening. I took everything worth taking. No reason to keep pretending now. The Su Lin you've all been hunting, the one keeping you up at night, he's standing right in front of you. So what are you going to do about it? He laughed. It sounded like crying. 2nd Elder. Activate the level 2 spatial lockdown array. Everyone else, protect the princes and princesses. The 2nd Elder raised his hand. Silver-white light poured from his palm and shot into the ceiling. Runes carved into the dome lit up, circle after circle, golden light flooding down like a tidal wave, pressing into the floor, the walls, every person in the room. I felt it. The air turned thick, like moving through honey. Level 2 spatial lockdown, the highest grade in the entire star region. Nobody inside gets out unless the caster drops the array or someone kills the caster. I couldn't break through a level 2 array, and I couldn't kill the 2nd Elder either. The level gap meant my damage to him would be 0. But I have 2,500 clone bodies. Losing this one meant nothing. What I actually wanted was to find out how much damage a real level 199 expert could deal with a full power strike. This body's final moments would be a good test. Quite the setup, I said. The radiant Holy Emperor walked down from the platform and stood in front of me. 5 years ago, you were level 30. You survived 10 level 190 attacks because of a substitute skill, works once, and a second hit kills you. So today, you die for real. Shang Xian stepped out of the crowd, eyes full of hate. 5 years ago, I spent 1,000 years of my lifespan buying intelligence to kill you, and it didn't work. Today, I'll do it with my own hands. I looked at him. You're not good enough. Send someone else. Or all come at once. His face went dark. He released his full aura. Level 193, like a wall slamming into me. Lower level people stumbled backward. My gray robe flapped in the pressure. I didn't move. Not even a little. He pushed harder. Full force. The stone floor cracked outward from his feet like a spiderweb. He expected me to kneel, beg, show fear. My knees didn't bend. My back didn't bow. My head didn't drop. His expression changed. This pressure should flatten anyone below level 180. He thought I was maybe level 120 at best. "What level are you?" he blurted out. "Guess," I said. His face flushed red. He raised his hand and gathered a ball of golden light in his palm, burning brighter and brighter. "I won't guess. I'll beat it out of you." The radiant Holy Emperor stopped him. "Not yet." Then the Supreme Elder walked out from beneath the statue. Slow steps, each one landing like a hammer on everyone's chest. He stood in front of me. "The ancestor saw you weren't from Holy Light Star. Why did he let you live?" Everyone wanted to know the answer. I looked at those silver eyes. "You want to know? Fine." The ancestor cursed me. "I have 100 years to help Holy Light Star become a level 3 planet. If I fail, my body rots and I die." The hall erupted again. "Impossible," people said. "A level 3 planet? The ancestor must be insane." Sheng Xian stepped forward with a counter. "Su Lin can come back from the dead. The curse might not work on him. I killed him 5 years ago, and he came back. He killed himself in the secret realm 3 years ago, and came back again. Even if he dies from the curse, he'll just revive." He turned to the Supreme Elder. "I say we use Soul Search on him. Dig out every secret, his abilities, his skills, his techniques, why he keeps coming back. We need to know everything before we can deal with him." The Supreme Elder agreed with Sheng Xian. They wanted to soul search me, dig out every secret. But first they had to beat me down until I couldn't resist. Sheng Xian volunteered to go first. I honestly didn't care about his attacks. What I really wanted was to see how much damage a level 199 strike could do. So I told them to all come at once. Said Sheng Xian alone wasn't enough. That made him angry. He said one person was plenty for a kid in the low hundreds. He hit me with 30% power. A golden palm strike right to my chest. 30 billion Jing damage. My health went from 73,600 billion Jing down to 73,570 billion. The shockwave cracked the air and pushed people back. I didn't move. Not even a blink. My robe had a palm-sized hole burned in it. The skin underneath, not even a red mark. His eyes went wide. He couldn't understand it. "Are you tickling me?" I said. "Maybe send someone else." He hit me at 70%. 70 billion Jing damage. Stone tiles ripped off the floor behind me, debris flying everywhere. I still didn't move. Skin still clean. He went full power. 100 billion Jing damage. The whole wall behind me cracked from top to bottom. Dust rained from the ceiling. The sound was like thunder. When the smoke cleared, I was standing. Robe torn up, hair messy, bit of dust on my face. But standing. Perfectly fine. Sheng Xian collapsed to his knees, gasping. He'd given everything he had, and I hadn't even spit blood. The Supreme Elder pulled out a transparent stone and threw it into the air. It exploded into a light screen on the wall showing my stats. Target, Su Lin. Level, 160. Health, 73,600 billion Jing. Dead silence. Sheng Tianwu's jaw nearly hit the floor. 160. Sheng Tianyun's fingers went white. 3 years ago, I was level 110. He took 8 years to go from 110 to 120. I did 60 levels in 3 years. Sheng Tianjiao couldn't speak. He went from 100 to 110 in 3 years and thought he was fast. Now he felt like a joke. Sheng Tian stared at the number, pupils shrinking to pinpoints. If he'd known Sheng Yuan was me, he wouldn't have even had the courage to compete. The radiant Holy Emperor noticed my health. 73,600 billion Jing. His own full power attack could only do about 1,000 billion, 1/70th of my health. And he remembered I had terrifying regeneration. He couldn't kill me alone. None of them could. The strongest people on this entire level 2 planet couldn't hurt a guy in his 20s. His hands started shaking. The Supreme Elder turned to face the hall. "All personnel level 180 and above, listen up." Over 300 people straightened. "You saw his health. None of us can kill him alone. But he's only level 160. He can't damage anyone above 180. So we just need to keep hitting. Hit until his passive death substitute triggers. Hit until his health is almost 0, and then I'll use my soul search ability." The radiant Holy Emperor nodded. Over 300 of us above level 180. We grind him down, Grind him down, Shang Xian echoed, standing back up on shaky legs. Grind him down, the crowd repeated. I looked around at all 300 of them and felt my blood pumping. Finally, a real test. Come on then. Let me find out where my limits are. The Supreme Elder raised his hand. Ready, 300 people channeled their power at once. The air in the hall exploded. Golden light poured from every direction, turning the whole temple bright as the sun. The pressure was so heavy that the weaker people got flattened. Sheng Tianjiao was face down on the stone, couldn't breathe. Sheng Tian stayed standing, pale, legs shaking, but standing. He wanted to watch me die. The Supreme Elder's hand chopped down. Attack! 300 people fired at once. Golden beams of light slammed into me from every direction. The sound was like the sky collapsing. The whole temple shook. Ceiling dust, flying stone, shockwaves pushing everyone back. People crashed into pillars, hit the ground, got cut by debris. Smoke everywhere. Couldn't see a thing. Is he dead? Someone yelled. The smoke cleared. I was standing, robe shredded to strips, hair loose on my shoulders, dust all over my face, a thin line of blood at the corner of my mouth. But standing. I checked my health. 73,600 billion down to 53,600 billion. 300 people above level 180 hitting me all at once, and they only took off 20,000 billion. I regenerate 100% of my health every second. 1 second later, I was back to 73,600 billion. Full. I looked up and wiped my mouth. Did you guys skip breakfast? The hall went quiet. 300 people, all stunned stupid. They'd attacked together, knocked off less than half my health, and I healed it all back in a heartbeat. They all stared at me. Robe in shreds, hair loose, dust on my face. But my health was full again. Took 1 second. Sheng Xian spoke first, voice like someone was choking him. Impossible. Over 300 of us, all above level 180, attacking together. Even a level 199 Star Lord would be near death. How is he fine? The second elder was shaking. Insane health, insane regeneration, a death substitute passive, revival after death. Any one of these would make someone a top genius. He has all of them. How do you fight that? Nobody answered. The radiant Holy Emperor refused to give up. Keep hitting him. He's only level 160. He can't hurt us. I don't believe he can keep healing forever. But nobody moved. They all felt it, that deep helplessness. He looked around at them. Are you scared? Sheng Xian got back to his feet, eyes shifting from shock to something crazed. He can't hurt us. We grind him down. The Supreme Elder raised his hand again. Attack. Round 2. 300 people, full power. Every single one of them burning everything they had. Pills popped, weapon runes activated, secret techniques unleashed. Golden light hammered me from every direction. My health dropped from 73,600 billion to 30,000 billion. 1 second later, full again. I looked at the wound on my hand. New skin was already crawling across it, closing up. Gone in a second. Keep going, I told them. The moment you stop, I'm back to full. Round 3. Same result. Health dropped, then instantly refilled. They were gasping, kneeling, shaking. The third elder said it out loud. 3 rounds, 300 people, and I hadn't even spit blood. The radiant Holy Emperor ordered them to continue. His voice was barely controlled rage. Round 4. 20 trillion damage. Full in 1 second. Round 5. Same. Round 10. Same. Round 20. Same. By then, every single one of them was on the ground. 300 people above level 180, sprawled across the temple floor. Some leaning on pillars wheezing, some face down in rubble unable to move, some propped on trembling arms. Not one could stand. I was still standing. Health still full. 73,600 billion jing. Hadn't even broken a sweat. Sheng Tianwu sat on the floor staring at me, the light gone from his eyes. Can't kill him. Sheng Tianyin slumped next to him. 300 people. Level 180 and up. 20 rounds. He didn't even sweat. Sheng Tianxin stood in the back against the wall. She was only around level 110, so she hadn't joined the attack. Her damage to me would be 0. But she watched the whole thing. Every round my health dropped a huge chunk, then snapped back to full the next second. Like someone pressing a reset button. She gripped her sword handle, knuckles white. How do you even fight this? She whispered. Is Holy Light Star just his backyard now? He does whatever he wants. Sheng Tian's was still standing at the front. Pale as paper, bloodshot eyes fixed on me. He was thinking, if they couldn't kill me, what happened to everyone below level 180? I could one-shot any of them. Would they have to flee Holy Light Star? Become refugees on other planets? Hide in the lawless territories under fake names? The radiant Holy Emperor stood on the high platform, looked at his people lying on the ground, then looked at me, standing there, hadn't even raised a hand to fight back. Not because I didn't want to. At level 160, my damage to anyone above 180 was 0. I couldn't hurt them, but I didn't need to. Just standing there, I'd made the entire Holy Light Star feel hopeless. Can't kill me. Could never kill me. The radiant Holy Emperor's hands shook inside his sleeves. I could see the question on his face, the same one everyone in that room was thinking. Is Holy Light Star finished? I stood in the middle of the ruined temple, robe hanging off me in strips, and looked around at 300 people sprawled on the floor. Not one of them could stand. That's it. I thought you'd have something better. Nobody answered. I pushed harder. I think Holy Light Star needs a new name. Su Star, after me. And all you princes and princesses can be my servants. Fetch my tea, fold my laundry. Do a good job. Maybe I'll give you a pill. Do a bad job. 8 beatings a day. Sheng Tianjiao's face was pressed against the stone floor. You're dreaming, he squeezed out. I looked down at him. Say that again. He shut up instantly. I turned to the radiant Holy Emperor. And you? You can wash my feet every night. The Supreme Elder can give me back rubs. His face went from white to blue to purple. You're asking to die? Then you'd need the ability to kill me first. So, is this everything you've got? Because if it is, this planet is getting renamed. I was provoking them on purpose. I needed to see if they had any hidden cards left. They did. The Supreme Elder walked out from behind the crowd, slow and heavy, and pulled something from his sleeve. A bead, fist-sized, pitch black, covered in tiny runes with dark red light flowing through them. Heaven-sealing bloodlock bead, he said. The air in the hall seemed to freeze. I got this from the God-sealing secret realm. Nearly died for it. He paused. One effect. Seals the regeneration ability of any awakened person below level 200. For 30 minutes, the whole hall lit up. Everyone's eyes came alive again. Sheng Xian jumped to his feet. Why didn't you use this earlier? It's single use. Once it's gone, it's gone. I didn't want to waste it. The Supreme Elder stared at me. Now I have no choice. He threw the bead into the air. It burst open like a dark flower, petals of rune-covered light wrapping around me from every direction, sealing me inside a dark red cocoon. I looked at my hand. My blood was still pumping, but that constant feeling of being repaired every second, gone. I checked my panel. Passive 1, Recovery Enhancement, sealed. Remaining, 29 minutes 58 seconds. Really sealed. From now on, the Supreme Elder said, every drop of blood you lose stays lost. Everyone found their strength again. Sheng Xian's eyes burned. The third elder did the math out loud. My health was 73,600 billion. They did 20,000 billion per round. For rounds, and I'd be empty. The radiant Holy Emperor smiled. You said something about washing your feet? I didn't answer. I was calculating. For rounds to drain me. Then my substitute stone statue passive would trigger, leaving me at 1 health point. And then the Supreme Elder would soul search me. All my secrets exposed. I couldn't let that happen. The Supreme Elder raised his hand. Ready. 300 people powered up again. The air shook. I looked at them and smiled. You think sealing my healing means you can kill me? His hand stopped. I raised my right hand. Blood-red light gathered in my palm. Not aimed at them. Aimed at myself. The Supreme Elder's pupils shrank. He's going to. Too late. I slammed my palm into my own chest. The blast tore a bowl-sized hole straight through me. Front to back. Heart gone. Blood sprayed everywhere. I looked down at the hole in my chest. Then I looked up. At the Supreme Elder. At the radiant Holy Emperor. At Sheng Xian. At every single person in that hall. And I smiled. You really thought I'd let you search my soul? Next time you won't have that bead anymore. And next time I come back, I'll still be your nightmare. I fell backward. Straight and stiff, like a wall toppling. Hit the ground. Blood pooled underneath me, dark red, shining under the golden lamplight. The hall went dead silent. They all stared at my body. Hole in the chest still bleeding. Eyes still open. Smile still on my face. The same smile I wore when I killed myself in the secret realm 3 years ago. Sheng Xian crouched down and pressed the autopsy stone to my forehead. It glowed dark red. The color it only shows for the dead. Same as 5 years ago. Dead, he said. Can you still soul search him? Someone asked. The Supreme Elder shook his head. He's dead. The soul is scattered. There's nothing to search, but everyone in that hall knew the truth. 5 years ago I died and came back. 3 years ago I died and came back. Now I died a third time, and not one of them believed I was really gone. Sheng Tianjiao was soaked in cold sweat, thinking about what I'd said. Rename Holy Light Star. Make them all servants. Was I joking? Or was I serious? He didn't know. But he knew one thing. I really couldn't be killed. And that meant everything I said could come true. After I killed myself in the temple, everything went exactly as I expected. They panicked. Sheng Tianwu stared at my body. What if he comes back? Nobody had an answer. Sheng Tianjiao was the most scared. He kept asking what would happen if I returned. Would I really rename Holy Light Star? Make them all servants? Would they have to flee to other planets as refugees? The Supreme Elder made a decision. We summoned the Ancestor. Everyone went quiet. The Ancestor, Sheng Wudi, had ascended to a higher realm long ago. But the Supreme Elder knew a secret technique. Use royal blood and life force to burn the bloodline mark the Ancestor left behind. Open a connection across realms. It needed 10 people. All direct bloodline descendants. Higher level was better. Lower level ones might die. The blood extraction could kill them. The Radiant Holy Emperor volunteered first. Then Sheng Tiance, Sheng Tianwu, Sheng Tianyun, Sheng Tianxin, and several senior branch family elders. 9 total. They needed one more. Everyone looked at Sheng Tianjiao. He was terrified. At level 108, he had the highest chance of dying. But with his father watching, with everyone watching, he couldn't refuse. I'll do it, he said, voice shaking. They formed a circle around the statue. Cut their wrists. Blood dripped onto the stone floor, dark red with faint golden light. The Supreme Elder cast the technique. The blood boiled. Golden threads rose from each person's blood like snakes, then collided in midair. A beam of light shot through the ceiling, through the sky, into the void. The whole planet shook. A crack appeared in space, and from it emerged a blurry figure. Tall, golden armor, dragon-like vertical pupils glowing gold. Sheng Wudi, the Ancestor. They'd actually reached him. The Supreme Elder pressed his forehead to the stone and told the Ancestor everything. My entire story, from level 30 surviving 10 level 190 attackers, to disguising myself as the 9th prince for 3 years, to tanking 20 rounds from 300 fighters above level 180, to killing myself to avoid soul searching. The Ancestor was silent for a long time. Level 160 withstood 20 full rounds from 300 people above level 180. Yes, more silence. Then, even the top geniuses on level 3 planets couldn't do that at level 160. The Supreme Elder called me a monster. The Ancestor laughed coldly. Monster? If what you say is true, he could become a god. Everyone was shocked. A god? And they'd been fighting someone who could become a god. The Ancestor asked why they'd provoked me. The Radiant Holy Emperor explained. 5 years ago, when I was level 20, I broke the rift record so dramatically they got scared and sent people to kill me. The Ancestor went quiet again. Then his eyes turned cold. It was too late for regrets. They were locked in a fight to the death with me now. I'll send someone down to kill him before he grows further, the Ancestor said. I'm level 270. I can't descend to a level 2 planet. Nobody above 200 can. But I'll send level 200 fighters with special tools. Even if the people can't hurt him, the tools can. How long? The Supreme Elder asked. 1 to 3 years. Opening a cross-realm passage takes enormous energy. But even with his talent, 3 years won't be enough for him to reach level 200. As long as he's below 200, my people will kill him. Then the Ancestor gave one final order. Activate the planet protection array. It would seal Holy Light Star completely. Nothing in, nothing out. I couldn't get in, and they couldn't leave. They just had to wait for his people to arrive. The Ancestor's image faded. His last words echoed through the hall. Activate the array. Wait. Then he was gone. 3 days later, I was standing by a window in Star City on Star Planet. After dying on Holy Light Star, I'd switched to my clone here as my main body. Qinxing US showed up at my door with a box. Not food this time. Golden papers covered in flowing runes. Intelligence reports from her father. Holy Light Star had activated their planet protection array. Total isolation. Nobody in, nobody out. Activated 3 days ago by the Supreme Elder, with every fighter above level 190 participating. I set the papers down on the table. They were hiding behind a shield, waiting for something. I had divine power pills, but each one took 10,000 days to refine. Far too slow. I needed to find a faster way to level up. Chen Xingyuan knew everything now. Her father had told her. "You're not Lin Lin," she said, voice low. "You're Su Lin." I didn't deny it. She sat cross-legged, hands on her knees. "My father says nobody in the entire level 2-star region can hurt you anymore. 300 people above level 180 hit you 20 rounds. You stood there and took it. Full health after every round." She paused. "You're insane." "Insane? Not in the head. Your strength is insane." She told me Holy Light Star had activated their planet protection array. Complete isolation. First time in a million years. They're afraid of you. An entire planet, the number 1 level, 2 planet, hiding behind a shield because of one person. I didn't care about that. I needed to get stronger. Refining divine power pills took 10,000 days per pill, way too slow. "You know anything faster?" I asked. "Divine crystals," she said. "They're in a place called the Divine Fall Grounds. 1 crystal equals a full year of refining pills, and it only takes 3 to 7 days to absorb 1. With your god-level talent, probably 3 days. That was what I needed." She explained the details. The Divine Fall Grounds had 9 layers. First layer, monsters at level 160 to 170. Each layer gets harder. 9th layer has level 200 monsters. Divine crystals start appearing on the 3rd layer. More on the 4th and 5th, but those are dangerous. The first 2 layers have been picked clean. The real problem wasn't monsters. It was people from level 3 planets. They entered the same place looking for crystals too. The grounds had a limit. Only level 200 and below could enter. But even at the same level 3 planet fighters were much stronger, with better gear and tools. 80% of level 2 planet people who die in there aren't killed by monsters, she said. They're killed by level 3 planet people. Those people wear gold armor. They won't talk to you. They'll just attack. She warned me about something else. Tens of thousands of years ago, someone from a level 2 planet attacked a level 3 planet's princess inside the Divine Fall Grounds. A few years later, level 3 fighters descended and wiped out that entire planet. I thought about it. She was right. I should avoid them if I could. I could probably survive a hit from a level 200 fighter, but if level 3 planet elders came down after me, I'd have no chance. "I'm still going," I said. She sighed. "I knew you'd say that. When are you leaving?" "Tomorrow." "Tomorrow. You killed yourself a few days ago, and you're already heading to a death zone. Normal people would have died 800 times living your life. Don't want to waste time." She left to arrange the teleportation array with her father. Next morning she showed up in a light blue combat outfit, hair in a high ponytail, a thin sword at her waist. Didn't look like someone seeing me off. "What's with the outfit?" I asked. "I'm sending you off. You wear combat gear to send someone off?" She looked down at herself. "Does it look good?" "It's fine." "Then that's all that matters." She smiled like a flower. We walked together to the palace gates. She told me more about the layers. Level 2 planet people mostly stayed on the 3rd layer. Level 3 planet people on the 4th and 5th. The 7th layer and above, only suicidal people went there. The monsters formed packs, and almost nobody came back alive. At the gate, she stopped. "Su Lin," I turned around. "Come back alive. You still owe me a favor." "Okay," she smiled. I turned and followed the steward. The teleportation array sent me to the lawless territory. Gray sky like a worn-out rag. No sun, no clouds. Gray sand underfoot, gray-black mountains in the distance. The air smelled faintly of iron. I followed the coordinates and walked for a long time until I found a road. An old man sat on a rock by the path, smoking a bamboo pipe. He warned me I was too young, said the Divine Fall Grounds was a death trap. I told him to just point me to the teleportation array. He laughed. "Your funeral." He pointed down the road. "Walk to the end, find a mountain, a cave at the base, the array inside." As I walked away, he called after me. "Kid, watch out for the ones in gold armor. Level 3 planet people. They won't say a word. They'll just kill you." I found the cave. Dark inside. Damp stone walls. faint blue light from minerals embedded in the rock. At the very end, a battered teleportation array. Cracked stones, faded runes, barely holding together. I stepped into the teleportation array and arrived at the first layer of the divine fall grounds. Scorched black plains, low hills, air so hot it tasted like boiling iron mixed with sulfur. No divine crystals here. Layers 1 and 2 had been picked clean long ago. I needed to get to layer 3. About 15 minutes in, I heard fighting. 3 guys were getting beaten down by 2 dark red scaled lizard monsters. Level 160, called Darkfire lizards. One of them got smacked by a tail and crashed at my feet, bleeding from the mouth. "Brother, help us, we can't hold on. I'm just passing through," I said. He begged again. So did his friend who got knocked down next to me with a broken spear. I figured they were no threat to me, and I could use them for information about this place. I walked over and punched the first lizard in the head. One hit, 7,360 billion Jing damage. Its skull shattered. The second one lunged at me. I punched it under the jaw. Same result. 2 punches, 2 dead monsters. Their jaws dropped. I searched the bodies, no divine crystals. Figured as much for layer 1. They told me they'd been injured on layer 3 and were heading back to recover when these monsters caught them. They warned me layer 3 had level 170 monsters in packs, and I might even run into level 3 planet people there, though they mostly stayed on layer 4 and above. I moved on. Took 6 hours to reach layer 3. I searched for a full week. Not a single divine crystal. On day 8, I ran into 4 people digging through rocks behind a black hill. A bearded guy told me he'd been there a month and found nothing. That was normal for layer 3. You might find a few crystals after a year or so. Layer 4 had more, but it was level 3 planet territory. He said he'd only ever seen people go in, never come out. I did the math. At this rate, I'd be here forever. So I sent a mental command. All 2,499 clones, come to layer 3 and start searching. That would speed things up a lot. But for even faster results, I'd take this body to layer 4 personally. I thanked them and walked away. The bearded guy called after me. "You're not actually going to layer 4, are you?" I didn't look back. 3 hours later, I reached the entrance to layer 4, a thin curtain of pale fog between 2 mountains. I could feel the pressure on the other side, like someone had crushed the sky down to 3 feet high. I walked through. First thing I saw, 7 or 8 corpses, all level 2 planet people. Different poses, some face down, some on their backs, one half kneeling like he died begging. Every one of them had their storage rings stripped off. 10 steps ahead, 4 people sat on a black rock, eating and drinking, all wearing gold armor. Level 3 planet people. A bald guy with his armor half off. A skinny one with grease stains on his plate. A fat one gnawing a meat skewer. And a woman in silver armor holding a wine cup. They were camped right at the entrance, not searching for crystals, just killing anyone who came up from below. The bald one spotted me and grinned. "Oh look, another one." The skinny one glanced over and went back to eating. Level 2. Boring. The fat one chewed his meat. Layer 4 is level 3 territory. These people never learn. The woman stared at me silently, studying me. I was different from the usual people who came up. Most were over 1,000 years old. I was young. The bald guy stood up, over 2 meters tall, gold armor gleaming. "Kid, don't bother looking around. In a few minutes you'll be lying there with the rest of them." I looked at the bodies, then back at them. "You just sit at this entrance killing everyone who comes up. What else would we do?" He flashed yellow teeth. The skinny one said level 2 people didn't deserve to be on layer 4. The fat one said divine crystals weren't for us to touch. The woman stood up, silver armor catching the light, and smiled. "You're so young. Tell you what, serve me well, and I'll let you live. Maybe even get you some crystals." The others burst out laughing. I looked at her, stayed quiet. The fat one threw his meat skewer on the ground. "Stop wasting time. Kill him. Take his ring. Toss him with the others. Didn't you hear me?" The woman said loudly. "I want to play with this one first. It's rare to get a young one." The 3 men stopped immediately. She seemed serious. I was silent for 3 seconds. "If I turn around and leave now, will you let me?" The bald one blinked, then laughed even louder. "Leave? You think you can just walk away from layer 4? The woman smiled at me again. "See? They'll kill you. But submit to me, and I guarantee they won't touch you. Think carefully, handsome." I looked at her. "I've decided, I said. I choose. You all die. Dead silence. The bald one's smile froze. Then he laughed again, even louder. What did you just say? I didn't repeat myself. His laugh died. Something about me wasn't right. I was too calm. Facing 4 level, 3 planet fighters without a trace of tension on my face. Like I was looking at 4 ants. He stopped smiling and powered up. Level 178. His gold armor lit up, runes flowing across the surface. His aura exploded outward like a mountain rising from the ground. Let me show you what level 3 means. He threw a punch at my chest. Golden light burst out. The air rippled, fist screaming toward me with enough force to shatter a person. It landed on my chest. 10 million Jing damage to me. 1 million Jing reflected back at him. He froze. Half his power behind that punch. Should have sent a young level 2 fighter flying dozens of meters, bones crushed against a mountainside. I didn't move. The bald guy looked at his own fist, cracked and bleeding. Then at my chest, not even a mark. What the hell are you? I didn't answer. I raised my right hand and punched him in the chest. 7,360 billion Jing damage. His gold armor caved in, a perfect fist print. He coughed blood, his knees hit the ground, bones cracking, and he fell face first into the gravel. Dead. The skinny one went white. One hit. The fat one dropped his meat skewer. He was level 178. The woman stepped back, fear in her eyes for the first time. How can someone so young one-shot him? I looked at her. Weren't you the one who said I should serve you? Her face went even whiter. She drew her sword, silver light flowing along the blade. Together, she screamed. All 3 came at me from 3 directions. Sword, blade, fist, all hitting me at once. I didn't dodge. The blade hit my shoulder and snapped in half. The sword stabbed my chest and broke into 3 pieces. The fist hit my face and the guy's finger bone shattered. The skinny one was on the ground clutching his broken wrist, bones sticking out through skin. Impossible. I stepped toward him. He swung at me with his left hand. My knee hit his stomach before his broken blade touched my clothes. All his ribs shattered, punctured his heart. He curled up like a boiled shrimp and stopped moving. The fat one charged me like a human wall. He slammed into me, like running into iron. His shoulder cracked on impact from the reflected damage. Then his collarbone. Then his whole right arm. Bones jutting out of skin. Before he could even scream, my fist caught him under the jaw. He bounced up, crashed into a rock, slid down, eyes rolled back. Dead. Just the woman left. She held her broken sword, tip touching the ground, everything shaking. She stared at me for 3 seconds, then laughed. Not a cold laugh. More like she knew she'd lost but couldn't accept it. What level are you? 110. I lied. 110? You one-punched a 178 at level 110? She couldn't process it. I stepped forward. She backed up against a rock, nowhere to go. She held the broken sword across her chest. Kill me, and our people will investigate. Level 3 planets have tracking techniques. So you won't survive either. I looked at her for 2 seconds. Then I just won't let your people find out. She didn't have time to react. My fist hit her chest, and she flew backward into the mountain wall, slid down, knelt, head dropped. Done. For bodies on the gray ground. I pulled off their storage rings and checked them one by one. Bald guy, 3 divine crystals. Skinny one, 2. Fat one, 1. The woman, 4. 10 total. 8 days on layer 3, not a single crystal. 5 minutes on layer 4, for dead bodies, 10 crystals in my hands. Fist-sized, rough gray-white stones with something flowing inside, like moonlight, like mercury. Cool to the touch, but with warmth underneath. I used my death vision ability on each body and read their memories. They were from Gold Steel Star, a level 3 planet. A patrol squad that rotated every 2 months, stationed at the layer 4 entrance specifically to kill level 2 planet people coming up. Bad news. Each of them had a soul lamp back on their planet. When they died, their lamps went dark, and the person watching could see the last image before death, meaning my face had already been seen. They were probably already sending someone after me. Good news. Anyone who had awakened a 3rd ability couldn't descend to this place or to level 2 planets. So whoever came would be level 200 at most, without a 3rd awakening. I took their communication stones and stored all 4 bodies in my soul storage. No evidence left behind. They won't get here that fast, I told myself. Time to refine these crystals. I found a hidden spot and sat down. Each crystal normally takes 3 to 7 days to absorb, 3 for god-level talent. But I didn't have that kind of time. So I tried something. I cut one crystal into about 200 tiny pieces. It worked. Each piece gave me divine power when absorbed. I cut all 10 crystals into 2,000 pieces total and distributed them to 2,000 clones for simultaneous absorption. At this rate, all 10 crystals would be fully refined in less than half an hour. While I sat hidden on layer 4, cutting divine crystals into pieces for my clones to absorb, things were moving fast on Gold Steel Star. In their soul lamp hall, a one-eyed old man named Jinjiu was dozing when 4 lamps went out one after another. Jin Buhuan, Jin Bupo, Jin Buli, Jin Yu, all dead within minutes. He rushed to Jin Yu's lamp and used a technique to pull the last image from the dying flame. My face. Young, black hair, gray clothes, standing over her body. He sprinted to the command hall. Within 15 minutes, over a dozen people had gathered. At the front stood Jin Zhan, level 200, the commander of all Gold Steel Star operations on layers 4 through 6. When Jin Jiu told him a level 2 planet person had killed 4 of their own, the room erupted. This hadn't happened in 10,000 years. Jin Zhan smiled, cold as ice. He picked up a golden communication stone and gave the order. All Gold Steel Star squads on layers 4 through 6, stop searching for crystals. Anyone who sees a young man in gray robes, kill on sight. No questions, no identity checks. Bring back his head and earn 100 divine crystals. Then he added another order. Send teams to block every entrance and exit on layers 1 through 5 that level 2 planet people used. He wanted me trapped, hunted down slowly. He also sent word to protect their princess, who was on layer 6 with 4 level 200 guards. Not because he worried about her safety, but in case I was crazy enough to stumble near her and cause an incident. The message spread instantly. On layer 4, a 5-man squad dropped their rocks mid-search. Forget the crystals. We're hunting. On layer 5, another squad abandoned a monster they were killing. 100 crystals for one head? Let's go. On layer 6, a team stopped their hunt. This pays better than anything we'd find here. Deep on layer 6, near some ancient palace ruins, a group of over a dozen fighters stood guard around 2 level 200 figures, a tall man in ornate gold armor and a slender woman in silver armor. The princess, both level 200, plus 2 more level 200 bodyguards behind them. For level 200 fighters in one spot. When the message reached them, the man shrugged it off. Let the lower teams handle it. One gray-robed kid from a level 2 planet. He's dead no matter what. The princess barely glanced over. A level 2 planet person. What kind of wave can he possibly make? She said it like it wasn't even worth thinking about. Keep digging. There's something under these ruins. And they went back to work. None of them knew I'd already finished cutting all 10 crystals into 2,000 pieces and distributed them to my clones. In less than half an hour, all 10 would be fully absorbed. The communication stone I took from the dead squad lit up. I checked the message. All squads stopped searching for crystals. Young man in gray robes. Kill on sight. Bring back his head. Reward. 100 divine crystals. I smiled. Sending messages to dead people too? They'd either send it to everyone on their network without thinking, or they just didn't care if I saw it. Either way, now I knew exactly what was coming. I sat back down and kept refining. Half an hour later, all 10 crystals were absorbed across my clones. Level 161. 1 level up in just over 30 minutes. Divine crystals were incredibly fast compared to pills. But now I had problems. According to the message, they were blocking every level 2 entrance and exit on layers 1 through 5. My 2,000 clones were still a day away from arriving, and even then they couldn't get past the blockade. I couldn't use this face anymore either. So I searched through the dead squad's memories for someone useful to impersonate. I found one, Gene Bumming, level 187, a loner from Gold Steel Star. Never teamed up with anyone. Always worked alone in the Divine Fall grounds, quietly searching for crystals in corners by himself. Barely talked. Perfect. I pressed my hand to my face. Muscles shifted, bones moved. Hair turned dark gold, eyes turned deep gray, jaw squared out, shoulders widened. Then I changed my clothes into gold armor. Now I looked exactly like Gene Bumming. Anyone below level 200 wouldn't be able to tell I wasn't from a level 3 planet. The only risk was running into the real gene bumming. I headed deeper into layer 4 to search for crystals. About an hour in, I kicked a loose stone. The sound carried far across the empty plain. Who's there? 3 men stepped out from behind a low hill. The leader had triangular eyes, loose gold armor, and a chipped blade. He recognized my face immediately and grinned. Brother Ming, you're usually on layer 5. What brought you down to 4? The bounty, I said flatly. 100 crystals is worth a few months of searching. The short fat one next to him laughed. Even the lone wolf is tempted. That gray-robed guy killed Jin Yu's squad. Everyone on 4 and 5 is hunting him. I scanned them against the memories I'd taken. Triangle eyes, level 180. Short fat one, 179. The quiet thin-faced one in back, 179. All within my kill range. At level 161, I could one-shot anyone at 180 or below. Above that, my damage dropped to 0. I double-checked by asking their levels, framing it as concern. What levels are you? I don't want to have to save you if we find him. Triangle eyes laughed. Don't look down on us, Brother Ming. I'm 180. These two are 179. 3 against 1. He can't handle that. 180, 179, 179. Confirmed. All targets. Fine, I said. Let's search together. Split the crystals evenly. Brother Ming's generous. Triangle eyes took the lead as we walked north into thicker fog. After about 15 minutes, the fog got heavy. Sand replaced gravel underfoot. Everything was silent except the wind. Triangle eyes kept chatting. What does this gray-robed guy even look like? The message just said gray robes, young, nothing else. You'll see soon enough, I said. He glanced back. You've seen him? Yeah. Where? I stopped walking. They all stopped. Right here, I said. They froze. I shifted my appearance back. Gray robes, black hair, my real face. Triangle eyes' pupils shrank to dots. You. The fat one stumbled backward. The thin-faced one grabbed his sword hilt. You're not Brother Ming. You're the gray-robed guy. I didn't answer. While they were still in shock, I punched Triangle Eyes in the chest. 7,360 billion Jing damage. His health was only around 10 billion. He flew backward into a boulder. The rock shattered. His chest caved in, eyes wide and empty. Dead before he hit the ground. The fat one screamed, seeing his leader killed in one hit. But he made the smart choice. No time to think, only fight. His armor lit up, runes blazing. He was burning his own life force to power up. He charged me, slammed into my body like hitting a steel wall. His shoulder blades shattered on impact. I backhanded a fist onto the top of his skull. He dropped face first. Done. The thin-faced one stabbed me in the back with his sword. 500 million Jing damage. Against my 73,600 billion health, that was less than 1/10,000th. Healed instantly. His face went ash gray. He knew he was dead. Your full power attack didn't even scratch me, I said. Go in peace. I punched the thin-faced one into the fat one's body. Both went down. 3 corpses on the gray sand. I crouched and checked their rings. Triangle Eyes had 4 divine crystals. Fat one had 3. Thin Face had 3. 10 total, enough for another level. I used death vision on all 3, stored their bodies, and moved fast. The fight had made noise, and if anyone above level 181 showed up, my damage to them would be 0. I found a hidden spot, turned back into Gene Bumming's appearance, and cut all 10 crystals into 2,000 pieces for my clones to absorb. Half an hour later, level 162. Meanwhile, back on Gold Steel Star, the one-eyed old man in the Soul Lamp Hall had barely sat down before 3 more lamps went out. He pulled the last image from the flames. My face again. Gray robes, 1 punch per kill. He burst into the command hall screaming at Jean Jean. 7 dead now. The highest was level 180. Jean Jean changed his strategy. New order. Everyone level 182 and below, pull back to the entrances and help with the blockade. Everyone 182 and above, drop everything, come down to layer 4, and hunt the gray-robed man. No more crystal searching, just find me. Their communication stone lit up in my pocket too. I read the new orders. Everyone 182 and above coming to layer 4. Since my damage to anyone above 181 was 0, fighting them was pointless. I could only search for crystals now. I walked for an hour through layer 4. No people, no crystals either. This place was enormous. Thousands of people scattered across it would disappear like sand thrown into a lake. Then I found a dried-up riverbed. At the end of it, a dead man in gold armor lay pinned to the ground by a dark red bone spike through his chest. Killed by a monster. His ring was still on. I was the first to find him. Inside, 3 divine crystals. I cut them into 2,100 pieces and distributed them to my clones. 6 or 7 minutes to absorb. Footsteps behind me. 6 people. I didn't panic. I was still wearing Gene Bumming's face. I stood up and turned around. 6 gold-armored fighters. The leader was a square-faced man with thick eyebrows and a long blade. He recognized me. Brother Ming? You down here hunting the gray-robed guy too? Orders are orders, I said casually. 100 crystals would be nice. He invited me to join them. I checked. All above 182. Couldn't kill any of them. More importantly, couldn't let them get suspicious. I work alone, I said. Too many people and the reward gets split too thin. He nodded with respect. Brave as always, Brother Ming. Be careful though. That gray-robed guy can kill level 180s. Even at 187, don't let your guard down. I know. They walked off into the fog. I watched them disappear. Can't hurt anything above 182, I muttered. Need to level up. Fast. In half a day I'd gone from 160 to 162. The crystals were working. But now the entire 4th layer was crawling with high-level hunters looking for my real face, and every entrance was locked down. I had to find more crystals before they figured out I could change my appearance. I walked for 2 hours through the fog without finding a single crystal. Then a cliff appeared in front of me, gray-white rock, maybe 50 or 60 meters high, like it had been cut with a giant knife. Wind blew up from below, carrying a rotten smell. I looked down. Pure black. Light couldn't reach the bottom, but something was moving in that darkness. Eyes. Thousands of dark red eyes, packed together like glowing coals. Level 185 dark fire lizards. Elite versions, 4 meters tall, much bigger than the ones on layer 1. Over 1,000 of them down there. That's exactly why I wanted to go down. A place this dangerous, with this many monsters, nobody had been here in a long time. Which meant the divine crystals down there were untouched. I backed up, took a running start, and jumped. On the way down, 70 or 80 of them looked up and blasted me with red light beams all at once. 50 billion damage per hit. I lost about 10,000 billion health before I even landed, but it refilled before my feet touched the ground. I hit the bottom. Over 1,000 of them turned to stare at me. The stench was awful. Looks like I picked the right spot. They swarmed me. Bit my arms, my shoulders, my back, my legs. Their teeth slid off like they were biting iron. They blasted me with energy beams. None of it mattered. I healed faster than they could hurt me. But I couldn't hurt them either. At level 162, my damage to level 185 monsters was 0. Didn't matter. I wasn't here to fight. I was here to dig. I started flipping rocks while they chewed on me. Must have looked ridiculous, getting attacked by 1,000 giant lizards while calmly picking through stones like I was shopping for vegetables at a market. Half an hour. 500 rocks. Nothing. Then I kicked a round stone and it cracked open against a black rock. Inside the broken face, a faint gray-white glow, like moonlight leaking through clouds. A divine crystal. I pried it out. Kept going. Under a big black rock, I dug out 3 more. Then 4 more over the next half hour. 7 total so far. The lizards eventually gave up biting me. The leader let out a low hiss, and most of them backed off. A few still sniffed around my feet, then wandered away. The big one just lay down and watched me with half-closed eyes, like I was a rock that happened to move. Smart of you, I told it. It yawned at me, showing a mouth full of fangs. I sat down, cut the 7 crystals into 2,100 pieces, sent them to my clones. 15 minutes later, level 163. I kept going deeper. The canyon narrowed from 50 meters wide to about 10. Darker, wetter, mud squelching underfoot. I hit a dead-end wall covered in gray-black moss. Started digging through the rubble at the base. Most rocks had nothing. Then I pulled out a basin-sized black stone and cracked it open. 5 crystals inside, shining like gray-white eyes in the dark. I kept digging for another hour. Turned the entire bottom of that canyon inside out. Every rock flipped, every patch of mud scraped away, moss peeled off the walls. Found 42 crystals total. 20 embedded in larger stones, 22 scattered loose in the mud. One had rolled deep into a crack, and I had to reach in and dig it out with my fingers. I laid all 42 in front of me. Their gray-white glow lit up the darkness around me. This trip was worth it. But the bottom's cleaned out now. Time to go up. I climbed back up the cliff, slippery going, slid back twice, and made it to the top in about 3 minutes. Found a sheltered spot out of the wind, sat down, and started cutting each crystal into 50 pieces. 42 crystals, 2,100 pieces total, distributed to my clones. I sent my crystal fragments to 2,100 clones. In about an hour and a half, I'd hit level 167, but that still wasn't enough. Then the communication stone exploded with Jinzhan's voice, screaming at his people. Thousands of them on layer 4, and they still hadn't found me. He raised the bounty. 100 crystals for spotting me alive, 200 for killing me, 300 for capturing me alive. Then someone on his team had a smart idea. They figured out I might have a way to change my appearance. Their solution, bloodline sensing discs. These devices could detect anyone who wasn't from Gold Steel Star, no matter what they looked like. Jinzhan ordered every single person in the Divine Fall grounds to go pick one up from the entrances. I did the math. 3 to 4 hours before everyone had their discs and spread back out. After that, my gene-bumming disguise would be useless. I waited the hour and a half. Level 167. Now I could hit anyone level 187 and below. Time to hunt. I headed toward the level 3 entrance, more people near the exits. I changed back to my gray-robed appearance. No more pretending to be friendly and then revealing myself. Too slow. Straight attack. 3 men walking toward the entrance, complaining about having to go pick up sensing discs. The leader was level 185, grumbling about how a level 2 ant was wasting his time. I stepped out of the fog. Gray-robed man, the leader shouted. He punched me with everything he had. 5 billion jing damage. I didn't move. His knuckles cracked, blood dripping from his fingers. My skin didn't even have a mark. I punched him in the face. 36,800 billion jing damage. He flew backward into the short one, killing them both. The tall one tried to run. 1 punch to the shoulder, done. 20 divine crystals from their rings. Cut into 2,400 pieces, sent to clones. I switched back to Gene Bumming's face and kept walking toward the entrance. 15 minutes later, for more people. A thin woman leading 3 men. She recognized Gene Bumming's face and relaxed. Brother Ming, heading to pick up a sensing disc too? Yeah. Just came from the east side, I said. They walked past me. The moment their backs were to me, 1 meter away, I shifted back to gray robes and punched the woman in the back. She flew into the bearded guy behind her. Both dead on impact. The other 2 drew weapons. I punched one in the chest, dead. The last one's blade hit me like it was striking an iron wall. 0 damage. He turned to run. I punched him in the back. His spine snapped like a dry twig. 21 crystals from their rings. Cut into 2,100 more pieces for my clones. Now I had 4,500 fragments being absorbed. An hour and a half, and I'd reach level 170. After that, going from 170 to 171 would probably take around 1,000 crystals, more than I could grab from a few squads. Better to hide and wait for the current batch to finish. I found a hollow behind some black rocks, sat down, closed my eyes, and let my clones work. Divine power surging through every vein. Back on Gold Steel Star, the soul lamp hall exploded again. 7 more lamps went out. The old keeper stumbled into Jinzhan's command hall, voice raw. 7 more dead, all 1 punch. Highest was level 186. Jinzhan crushed his wine cup to dust. He stood up so hard his chair slammed into the wall. He'd had enough. New orders. Everyone below level 190. Pull back to the entrances immediately. No searching, no chasing, no solo movement. Then he called for reinforcements. Over 100 fighters level 190 and above, including 5 level 200s. He was going to layer 4 personally. His people were stunned. All that firepower for 1 level 2 planet person? Nothing like this had ever happened in all the years Gold Steel Star controlled the Divine Fall grounds. Jinzhan said 6 words. Do as I say. On layer 6, the silver-armored princess got the message too. Jinzhan suggested she leave the Divine Fall grounds until he handled the situation. She didn't even look up. called him a waste, said if she retreated because of a level 2 ant, she'd never be able to hold her head up in the royal family again. She was close to breaking into an ancient ruin and wasn't about to stop. She told her guard to relay a message back, solve it fast, or Jean Jean loses his position. Nobody argued with her after that. She went back to digging, fingers tracing a crack in the ground where gray-white energy was seeping through. Almost there, she murmured. Meanwhile, Jean Jean assembled his force at the Divine Fall Grounds entrance. 107 fighters behind him, all gold armor, all level 190 or above. 5 level 200s including himself. Every single one carrying a bloodline-sensing disc at their waist. He split them into 10 squads, 3 east, 3 west, for center. Stay in contact, report any detection immediately. They moved in.